Hello! Hello!
I'm just posting in all and as many places as possible the fact that I am online and that I am streaming, because it is... I'm just not that big of a streamer yet where I can just, you know, go to the thingy-madiggy that I want with barely any concern and such and get started. I need people to know I am doing my thing. I am working my ass off. I am doing the grind, as they say. Well, let's be real. I'm not doing like as big of a grind as some people have to do when it comes to, you know, this sort of thing. Because quite frankly, you know, I have the full-time job and such, so I don't have neither the free time nor the convictions to do the... I don't have the free time or the convictions to do the fun, like, you know, crafting a high quality video to drop onto YouTube of like some sort of a thingy-madiggy and me being like, tonight I try making this stream a success by da-da-da-da-da. It's like, no, I can't do that, Mr. Beast, or like some of the more modern streamer kind of nonsense. I am quite frankly like just way too fine with just being a himbo zebra on the internet, wearing whatever fucking shirt he wants and playing the video games and getting excited when we get to play a game that features sexy women in it, because holy shit, there isn't enough of those. just being able to do this is amazing. That is true. Just being able to do this is absolutely amazing. Hi there, Bookie. First in the thingy-madiggy. You're sick, so you can't do the grind in the moment. Oh, no. Aw, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Man, I need to try and be more actually, I'll try and be more expressive when my AR kit is properly done and such like that. It's way too tempting to, like, engage it. Ooh!
Hendrix with the 22-month tier 1 sub.
Hendrix! Hello there! Thank you so much for subscribing for 22 months straight. I greatly appreciate it. You get to keep you know, utilizing all the fun little emotes that I have, and you don't have to deal with any advertisement on my platform. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. You woke up feeling sick yesterday? Like, what the fuck, buddy? The fuck did I do to deserve this? Question, Bookie. When was the last... Actually, I don't have water on me. Hang on a sec. I need to go get water because I'm an idiot. I didn't get myself a bottle of water. Alrighty. The bottle of water is right beside me. Aw, thank you, Xerix, for hugging Bookie. Alright, ASMR moment, hang on. Alright, now, confession, that wasn't water. I have the water bottle beside me, but I also wanted a Coke, so... Thank you for lurking. Alright. Tightest, softest hug I'll give someone. Nice. Alrighty. I can't hold it in any longer. We gotta go in. We gotta go and play the... We gotta play the rabbit game. We gotta play the Final Fantasy XIV and meet the rabbit girls. Ah! What were you gonna ask me? Oh, have you had water recently? What's your vitamin C like? Are you trying to keep a consistent sleep schedule? You know, generic questions like that. Funnily enough, I just got done drinking some Coke. Hilarious. Alrighty, Summit. Hi. I'm Grand. This way. What is your name? Grand. And this is a common name nowadays? How things change. But I digress. Come and be Cookie for Bookie. Here's your cookie, Bookie. Cookie for Bookie. But I digress. Come and be sure to watch your step. Come, Cookie. We have rabbit girls to meet. Oh, look, there's a rabbit dude right there. Ah! Look at her! Sorry, I'm just, like, so infatuated. Did you do the Heaven's Turn event yet, Zeebs? You mean the Heaven's Turn event for... for this thingy-madiggy? Hi there, Miss Sonic. Look at him. Look at him! Look at him! Dying from fucking, There we go. Absolute. Look at him. Look at this little guy. Alrighty then. Ah, helmet. Ah! So beautiful! Ah, yes. As bearers of the seal, you have a right to know what became of the Empire and my people's purpose here. We are descendants of the palace god which served under the last emperor, and to this day we carry on the duty of our forebears, the final decree of his eminence before Ronka's fall. By the wisdom of our people was Ronka made to thrive. Such knowledge must never be forgotten, nor may it be suffered to fall into the hands of the wicked. I am not wicked at all. There is nothing wicked about me. I could never betray such beautiful ladies. Look at her! Oh! Oh! Beautiful, powerful, dangerous! Ah! Keep it secret, keep it safe, and look to the coming of our allies. Unto them you shall bequeath our all, and thus will Ronka live on. By his command, we have remained in the Raktika Great Wood, guardians of Ronka's ruins and the wisdom held within. I hope thou wilt not think the question impertinent, but did thy people's famed longevity perchance play a part in the Emperor's decision to entrust this mission upon thee and thine? That was one reason, yes. We Vais would easily live to see 3 of your elven lifetimes. Ooh. We were also the fiercest fighters. There are none more fit than us to stand over the remains of Ronka. But our duty has grown ever more perilous in the wake of the flood. Settlements such as this one were plentiful before the light claimed dominion over the land. But now... for now is all that remains. Our numbers dwindle year by year. Before long, there will be no one left to honor the Emperor's wishes. And you believe we are the allies for whom you have waited? You have the zeal, do you not? After 3 millennia of waiting, that alone is nothing short of a miracle. Truth be told, I had begun to think you would never come. Sister! We are glad of your presence here in the Great Wood. The wisdom of Ronka is yours should you wish it. You need only ask. Please, marry me, lady. Please, I can be good, I swear. Oh. You come in search of the Light Warden. My apologies, but I do not know where it makes its lair. Uamet, do you recall any sightings of this creature? Not these past 30 summers. 30? But that would mean... How old are you exactly? Minfilia, you don't ask women their age. You do not ask them their age. They are timeless. They are beautiful. If they ever ask you, you tell them younger than you are. Just, they're absolutely precious. Do not ever ask a woman their age. Young enough to remember. With age comes knowledge. There may yet be one among us who's seen or heard the abomination you seek. We have leave to speak with the other Vais, then? But of course. Then we shall split up and inquire individually. If someone knows something, I would hear it while there is yet time to act. Oh. Tell me more. In the name of Ronka and the late Emperor, I promise we will do all we can to assist you. Ah! Ah! Beautiful! Beautiful. All right, moving on. I can't stay infatuated to them forever. They need me. I need to help them. I feel like I need to be Brock's Krogunk. No, you don't. All right, I don't need anyone bonking me or anything like that. Hello, Nimit. It was not my intention to pry, but your voices carry far. I know what it is you would ask of me. Unfortunately, the answer is no. I have not seen the Light Warden. I patrol the ruins perimeter regularly, and if it were hiding nearby, I would know about it. And just... Moors! Hi there, Arya! Look! Look! Rabbit people! Oh, and they're so beautiful! Look at her! Look at her! Look at... Oh my goodness! Look at her! And her! Oh my god! They're so beautiful! Look at her. Is she? Actually, hang on. Let me get you to the most beautiful. Oh my goodness! Oh, look at her. Hi. Hi. Okay, I need to show you the Hang on. I need to show you the prettiest one, the most beautiful. Oh. She's beautiful. She's powerful. It's amazing. She is. Morris, like, look at her. Look at her. Oh, beautiful. Best girl. There's no one comes close. No one. She's, oh, beautiful. Look at her. Also, she has sisters. Like, this is the shy one. This is the bratty one. And then look at her. And this is what she says. In the name of Ronka and the late Emperor, I promise we will do all we can to assist you and others. Bun boys are better. Look, out of the beautiful. All right, this is best village. Hi there, Atomica. Welcome to the stream. Look, rabbit girls. Rabbit girls. Hello. Hi. Beautiful. Oh. Oh. Beautiful. Oh, Louette. Hi. You search for the Light Warden? I cannot say I have ever laid eyes on it. Our duty is to protect the ruins, nothing more. We have no need to strike out in search of such a foe. Also, this is Cookie. They are a postman. Hi, Cookie. Oh, just beautiful, powerful, dangerous. There is no other. Ahoy. Oh yeah, Morse did pixel art. Hang on a sec, I need to find... Beautiful, powerful, dangerous, cold. Stronger than 1, stronger than 10, stronger than 100 men. An outsider? But how? By the gods! Allies of the Empire! My sincerest apologies for failing to note your arrival. Cookie for Sky! Sky, look! Rabbit girls! Rabbit girls! Hopefully you enjoyed your cookie. It was the warden you wished to know about, yes? My mother, may she rest in peace, told me once of its appearance in these woods. Before settling here in Fanau, she lived in a village near Raktika Falls until it was destroyed by the Sin Eaters. Which, while out on patrol one day, she spotted a swarm of the abominations, one of which was different from the rest. It was larger, for one thing, but what struck her was the way it fellows seemed to revere it. She was convinced that what she had seen was the Light Warden. Nice. Alrighty. Dun, dun, dun. Alright, we need to go up a floor. Oh. Rabbit girl. Thank you, Sky, for clipping. I have been head over heels over these rabbit girls. They are so beautiful. Oh, so beautiful. Oh. Oh. Look at them. Bork. Hi, unnamed. Look. Rabbit girls. Look at them. They're so beautiful. Hi. They're so beautiful. I love them. The Light Warden? No, I haven't seen it, but I have witnessed the horrors of the Lesser Eaters, how they want and hunt in packs and carry off their victims rather than consuming them on the spot. I suspect the Warden is a grotesque, corpulent thing, waiting patiently for its minions to bring its next meal. Alright, we need to now show you the best girl. Can I get a shout out for Unnamed, please? And for Morse Amalgam. Two amazing streamers. Morse does programming kind of shit and is like a coder and nonsense. Unnamed is a hyena titty. Thank you. Look at her. Best girl. Ah. Ah. I pray the others were... hey! Tatsu! A good Titiana. Yes. Yes. Say hi to them. Oh, best girl. Look at her. Beautiful. Powerful. She is the chieftain of the fucking village. It's... oh. Ah! Boop. Thank you for the boops. You really wanted the shirt. It's a cool shirt. Unnamed is the designer of the shirt that says all titty is good titty. I pray the others were able to provide what I could not. Mmm. Near Raktika Falls. Why was I not told of this? I think I see now why it has never been spotted on our patrols. I have never heard of this Raktika Falls. I can but assume it lies deep within the woods of Yxmaija. Just so. But the tunnel which leads to there collapsed after a rather bloody battle with the Eaters, and has not been passable for many years. We have several attempts to clear away the rubble, yet each time we were driven back. In the end, we were forced to give it up as lost, thereby making it a suitable place for the Warden to take sanctuary. There is perhaps one way to enter, though it would be at great peril to you and your companions. The Quatana Raval, a temple to the northeast. It has been sealed for centuries, but within is a path that leads to the falls. Can it be opened? For the allies of Ronka, it can. First, we must go to the Kumal Astropolis. Once the flow of magic is restored there, the path through the Quintana Raval will be opened. As a Sage main, support is my duty. Thanks! I will do my part as a tank. I promise I'm gonna remember to use some of the tank stance. Otherwise, Sasher is gonna bonk me on the head because she would be angry. This may sound a simple task, but there are certain obstacles which prevent us from attending to it ourselves, and we know not how to overcome them. The Emperor never granted our forebears leave to look upon the secrets we are charged with protecting, that we might not be tempted. That means to do so were withheld from us. We can but show you the way. The rest will be up to you. It would seem we have our work cut out for us then, shall we? Did you have to ask? Look at me, I'm a rabbit boy as well. It's your first run, they better be patient with you, or so help me. Look, I have been taught the critical lesson of, as the tank, I'm to pull the mobs. If the DPS runs ahead of me, fuck the DPS. They will learn very quickly why I'm the leader. I'm lugging this fucking train. I lead us. I get the heals. I get the mobs. Simple. Clean. Let us be about it then. If that is your wish, it is my duty to escort you. While we attend to matters at the Kamel Astropolis, I would ask that your sisters accompany Urianger and Thancred and share with them all they can of these woods. While we have every intention of investigating Raktika Falls, 'tis yet possible the Light Warden dwells elsewhere. With that in mind, it would behoove us to prepare an alternative course of action. Tanks and healers determine the fate of the party. Yes. Uamet, Semet, I leave them to you. Dun 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 dun. Boom. Dun 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 dun. Should our present course prove false, doubt not but that Thancred and I shall find any and all possible paths forward. Look at the astrologian. Look at the fucking astrologist. I promise I only growl at the himbo a little bit to ensure he's using his mitigations while I'm healing. Yeah. Also, Sash. Look. Sash. Best girl. Ah. Beautiful. Ah. Beautiful. Stands ready to guide you through the ruins. What you seek lies in the heart of Kamel Astropis. Unfortunately, it too was sealed shut by order of His Eminence. If we are to open it, we must first look to the morning stars. Come, I will show you the way. The heart eyes are so good, thank you. If only I can do heart eyes here. She's gone. God, I gotta chase after her now. Let me love you. Oh, hi, Xerix. Ooh, blue tick? Quest. As I live and breathe, an ally, da-da-da-da, cool. Any blue ticks that pop up... Oh, that reminds me, invite to party. Details. Charlotte Shea, a welcoming, focused, RP-friendly FC. Is this the one I'm supposed to... Is this the one I'm supposed to join? There is the wow. Wow. Is this? Yeah, that's Dazzy's FC? Okay. There we go. Wow. Wait, what's the emote? Ah, hang on. Social emotes. Search. Is it just wow? No. What's it called? Also, wait, are they? No, they're not. Okay, cool. Dun, 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 dun. Did you guys look at the FanFest sale and the new outfit? Is that the green looking thing? It's just wow, but it's an unlock. Wait, so... Okay, I don't have wow. Alright, get on the chocobo. We gotta go... Ooh, ah, there it is. There they are. Invite to party. Look at us go. Watch as I lead us to ruin. Oh, God fucking damn it. How do I get out of here? Infuriating may have shown what it was going to be the new magic job. Oh, the Viper thing. There we go. Yay! Oh, best girl. You are able to keep up, I see. Well done. Ahead lies the Morning Stars, 4 monuments built in tribute to the guardians of Raktika. Beyond them is the Great Pyramid of Uxmena, where the flow of magic must be restored. It is said that the monuments are themselves the keys to opening the pyramid. Though I know not how, that is for you to discover. Another puzzle. Wonderful. I would have a closer look. Lie. Look at this happens, chat. This is fun. Here we go. So we need to deliver the archer's Raymond at the bow. Oh, that's for Suda. Okay. It is indeed another puzzle, but for a blessing, it appears to be similar to the one we encountered at the lake. These statues are all depictions of the divine beasts mentioned on the tablet. No doubt they will open the way into the pyramid in like manner. We have but to discern the correct order. Let's split up and search the area for clues. These ruins are covered in ancient inscriptions. The answer may well be hidden among them. Indeed, it may be best to transcribe them if they are as numerous as you say, better than risk overlooking something. Though transcription would prove impractical for you, not being versed in Ronkin script, no matter, you will employ a different approach. Impressions. Here, I have thought to use these clay tablets to record any significant imagery we discovered, but they will serve you just as well. Take impressions of any inscriptions you find, and we will start at the base of the pyramid. You begin at the top. When you have finished, return here and I'll translate your findings. Alrighty, so I need to look at the different inscriptions at the top of temples. Thank you, Sky. Alright, can I... Lahi? How the fuck did people get up these things in the Machu Picchu? Lahi? Don't. Sash is just at the bottom of the pyramid, mid like, I'm not going up there. I'm not gonna bother. New location discovered. There we go. Donk. Oh, there we go. There we go. Look at us go! Bam. Fresh. Oh. I probably should have really quickly swapped to my... Because here's the thing. Unbeknownst to... This is something I've been doing off stream, but I've been working on my gladiator. Right now he's a bit naked, but I swear to you... Like, he's a bit naked, but I swear to you, we're gonna get it, okay? Goes from 200 to like 100,000 health. Don't worry. I will get the paladin up to a higher level, so then that way it's like a little more plausible. That way, like, when we get to like maybe Endwalker, I'll turn into the paladin or some shit and give that a try. Look at me go. Ow. Don't. Hi, Luna! It's been a while. How are things? I take an impression. Whee! Ow, 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 ow. Hi there, Arya. Alright, So, we need to get to... You're being busy? Fair enough. It's fine being busy. Alright. I just need to figure out where the temple is. I still kind of regret working on Paladin. Oh. Oh my god, my character is so weak for some reason. He feels weak. Oh, that's why, because it... Alright, there's the stairs. There we go. Jump, jump, jump. If anyone in the party would like to join the VC and don't, you know, be weird, you're welcome to join in. Play tablet. Here we go. Boom. Just me going down the stairs. Just dunk, dunk, dunk. Dunk, 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 dunk. Dunk, dunk, dunk. Look at this fatty. Look at him. Oh, you're stalled up. I trust you made good use of those clay tablets. Here you go. 4 clay tablets. Hello, Arya. How's it going? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say one thing. That other Viera, she does not compare.
Yes, she does. She's amazing.
No, she does not.
She does.
Betrayal.
Well done. A moment while I decipher what you found. Wait, why am I voicing like Y'shtola? Sash sounds like Y'shtola with the the moodiness. Oh, there's Xerix. I'm gonna add Xerix in. Hi, Xerix.
Hey.
How's it going? You doing good?
Okay.
So yeah, apologies for the delay. Nothing we saw at the base of the pyramids gave any hint as to the solution of the puzzle, focusing instead on how to proceed having solved it. Your findings, on the other hand, appear to form a riddle. Once assembled, it reads as follows. Come together, share despair. Go thy ways, dread burdens bear. Mark the crown, heed its call, avert thy gaze, forever fall. I have assumed that the puzzle would involve a sequence, but from what Elmet and I were able to gather, it is but a manner of suffusing of one of the statues with Aether. There's a lot of them. Question being, which one? I saw the word bear, and I want to go with bear. Hey, there's Tatsu. Hi, Tatsu. Ooh. Given your talent for, I think it's best that you choose which one do you... Not yet. Alright, I need to have a look. So.
Could be missing.
What do you mean moodiness? No booty. No, like, listen. I need you to understand, Sashara. Like, the tone of voice that Y'shtola has is very much your tone of voice. It just, yeah. Alright, so we got a serpent, we got a corral, we got a colibri, owl, wolf, monkey, and then we got Matsuo. Who is that? Namikaze. Do I know them? Or are they just a random Santa? Words on the street may even be a shadow. Did you know the PAL World is releasing this month? Oh yes! The Pokemon but Guns. Who is that? Who is this? Hope your day is well. My day is well. Second Storm Lieutenant. Nice. What lieutenant? Which rank am I? I am I'm a Storm Captain. I outrank this man. Stuff. Alrighty, so we've got. So it wouldn't be the wolf, wouldn't be the monkey. Colib. No, I don't think it's colibri. That's cat. Serpent. Hmm. Oh, hi there, Bone. I haven't seen you since last year either. Alrighty. Bonk. Get back up here. I love how Sasha's like, no bully. Alright. Yeah. Give my thoughts. Alrighty. Badger. Right then. Wait. Sash. Can you come into the VC? Please? Please? I won't bully you for 5 minutes. You have an amazing voice. Hey chat, say please. Thank you, Fizz, for making me bald. Only 5. Okay. 10 minutes, perhaps? Xerix, Arya, if you say please, I bet you they'll join.
Alright, he's fast.
See? They would like to please. Like, we'll, like, hang on. Like, please? Please? Trying to squeeze my pecs together to flirt and be like, please. Also, no, Bone. The quotes no longer. The quotes no longer when you get them. They no longer do the TTS bot because costly and it got distracting. But the quote will do the TTS for when you when you find a quote. You missed out on so much. I was fawning for the. Gosh darn it! I was fawning for the rabbit girl. Look at... Wait, not that one. That's your Stola. Look at her. Is she not the prettiest? I was half expecting Arya to say something, but look at her. She's so beautiful. So beautiful. Alright. Here I am waiting for... Oh, hey. Hi, Tatsu.
Hello. Sash said she'll be here in a moment.
Yeah, I saw. She's just getting water. I am going to have a drink of my vanilla Coke while I wait.
I'm here, and also, there can only be one.
Bone Musky Dog has added quote number 453. I am squeezing my pecs together seductively.
She's not prettier than me. My God, Stacy.
You're not there in the cutscene, though. Look, she's right there. Look at her. She's like, come on. Tall lady, 80, red hair. Oh, it's just beautiful. All right. This
perfection.
Sorry, what was that?
Why you bully?
I said perfection.
Thank you, Tatsu. Look, just red hair. I don't know what it is about like the different hair colors, but like red hair is like my top favorite. Like blonde is maybe a second, and then black hair, and then finally brunette at the bottom. There's something about red hair, and I'm not talking like the Ranger orange. I'm talking like this like almost drippy blood red. And my Final Fantasy just crashed.
Oof.
Fatal DirectX error has occurred. Thanks.
I guess you fawned over her too much.
Curse you,
Oh
Square
my god,
Enix.
I love your wallpaper. Whatever that is.
Oh, the Galaxy Zebra?
It's punishing you. It's punishing you for denying that.
Yeah.
She is not best. Yeah.
Don't you
it's
start.
Punishing you.
Don't you start. But yeah, that zebra thing. I've forgotten how to do the textures for the Galaxy. Like, I don't know how I would recreate that because the nose is slightly different and what have you now. But that one had like some not safe for work alternatives to it because the joke of it was just like was just a case of like, ah, yes, like just creating countless universes for my whims. Bam. Here we go. There we go. Hey, so yeah, and then there's the bunny boy. I love how, canonically speaking, like the rabbit girls, like they get the men to do the whole like approaching him such, but they're so aggressive with it. They're just sort of like, no. He's like, you gotta do better than that. All right,
You gotta do better.
you gotta do better than that. So yeah, there's the is that a rabbit boy or rabbit girl? Hang on. Where's the no booba? Okay, so rabbit boy is it? Oh, stone guy. Nice. Thank you. Alright, then. We're just waiting on Sash because she can do the Y'shtola voice. She's got a great voice. Can we get a shout out for Sashera, please? She streams. She does the streamies on the Twitch and notifying on the YouTubes. Also, who the fuck is this?
Just a random dude.
Nashid no. Oh, is that Sash's boyfriend, or partner? What, someone? They're somehow related because like they have the last name as Noshin Nabor.
Oh yeah, that's Ditto.
Ditto?
Ditto.
Dano.
His real name is Daniel, but I know him as Dano.
Just dropping their real name in a fucking stream. The real name is this, but they like Dano.
But yes, that is Sash's partner.
Hi. Just give him a wave. Let them know I'm not being mean. Oh, there are rabbit. I love the highlights in his hair. That's kind of cool. I kept mine to like, you know, the zebra thing of like black like the brown thing, but then having the white highlights underneath for the whole stripiness. So
You got real names? Bet. I got his ID pulled up right now.
sorry.
I'm kidding. I said, oh, we got the real name, bet. I got the ID.
Yep. Yeah, that's the same thing. So add him as a friend. I'm gonna send a friend request. If a response is not received in a
Hey.
week, the request will nullify.
Hey, you know what they say? The more the merrier.
More the merrier, yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Sash.
Hi, Sash. It's my fellow healer.
I'm sorry, she's one that. Grant.
Yep. What?
It's mine.
I know. He's
Mine.
He's fine. He's
Mine.
look. All right. I don't lean that way. Okay. He would just be a cool friend. I feel. All right. I was just complimenting his hair. I'm not gonna steal him. I'm not gonna steal him. You have nothing to worry about. I'm not gonna dress up like Malfurion or one of the night elves and be like, "Hey, Dano, there's a con nearby." Oh, look at him giving you a little kiss. Look at him.
Hey, Sash.
Love you. Yes.
You know, when you say "Hey, Sash," you're able to say something else afterwards.
Oh, no, it's because I emoted.
Oh, okay.
Look, Grant, one problem with you dressing up like that is that I'm not into the guys in the Night Elves, so, you know,
You might
Furion
need.
doesn't do shit for me.
All right, what was the sexy clad one? The one that Sash is like, oh, he'd make me dress up like her. What's her name? Fucking
To go
Stormwind?
either for Ysera or Alexstrasza.
Alexstrasza.
Oof.
All right.
I like Charles as the dragon lady, yeah.
Yeah, I got his ID pulled up. All right, here we go.
Grant, which one? There's a lot of those.
Oh. All right, hang on. Let me find.
Sexy clad women in Warcraft.
All right, let me
Stop getting too far ahead of me.
give me a second. Let me get the image, all right? There's an image I used in the ranting nonsense, okay? So you understand. No, not the entire webpage. Just give me the image, please. So, they call it the Trinity for some reason, but who farted in my stream?
I didn't do nothing.
God damn it, Code. Here it is. All right. Hopefully Dano is seeing this right now. Like the babe in the middle, the one that's above the druid that turns into a bear and the half demon thing. What's her name?
Actually, don't know who that is.
They just grabbed a generic night elf
Oh,
lady.
it's Tyrande. Okay.
Is that still in Malfurion and Tyrande back when the War of the Ancient States?
Okay. Okay, so Tyrande then.
Yeah.
All right, what does she look like now? How do you spell
A
it?
lot more kick-ass.
Give me a second.
Tyrande.
Tyr. Tyrande Whisperwind.
That sounds right.
That sounds
Oh,
like that sounds like a Warcraft name.
They did her dirt. Hang on a second. So let me just hide the game source and show. Now I'm about to move this image away. This is what we got. Look at her. She is beautiful. She is Oh, I didn't do the thingy-majiggy. Hang on a second. I need to move it into. I need to move it here. Look at her. She's sexy. She's got the booba. She's scantily clad. She's got the booba. Now, this is what they present her as in the Wikia. First image.
Booba?
Like,
What
mate,
does it do with the blindfold?
look at her. Like, the hair, I kind of like but like,
Okay, but the in-game model doesn't like. Hang on a minute. That's the wrong image to use. That's the wrong image to use.
wait, this one?
Yeah.
What's wrong with it? Is it not canon? Is that it?
Well, it's her in-game model, but it just doesn't do her like
Which
justice.
one are you looking for? The one with the tattoo?
Oh my god,
Yeah.
why is this one so high detail? Where the...
Tyrande Night Warrior?
Oh, Reforged, that's why. Ooh. Oh yeah, and this is the splash out from when they did the, like, original thingamadig. Let me get rid of the sexy trinity, so then that way we can see it. And then there's her with the tiger. Comics. Ooh.
Okay, hang on. Right, this is more what she looks like now.
Hey, oh, did you send... Where did you send it to me?
Hang on, I gotta find you in DMs.
Oh, look at her with a moment of reflection. Comics. There she is. Wait, is that like a wedding dress or something for her?
No.
Okay. Night Elves gave up their immortality. Yeah, they gave up their immortality because they burned a tree, I think.
No.
Oh, that's.
Two different fucking WoW players are just like, no, that's not how it happened. There was a tree burning though, right?
Easier to get the on-topic conversation because apparently, how did they lose their immortality? Because it was not the tree burning. I know that much.
I think it was the tree burning.
No.
Like if I type in WoW elf immortality, they're gonna mention a tree burning.
Yes, but that's not the.
It's good. Just you wait. Oh, the Well of Eternity, sorry. So,
I mean, I think they never stated that they were actually. They just had this normal, seeming long lives.
Yeah, just the lobby because he's probably got it in the private channels. You can't see.
oh yeah, if they're not like marked as a stream or anything like that, they may not see in the stream. Excuse me, the stream waiting thingy-majiggy. Okay, so you sent me a Twitter link.
I was hoping it was going to pull up the image, but apparently it didn't embed. Anyway.
No, that's okay. Because Twitter doesn't like doing embed, so you have to do like FX Twitter still. Ooh. Hang on a sec, here we go. Here's the ladies and gentlemen. Trinity Whisper wins something or other. Thank you for the hyper himbo, I see. Alright, I also need to get...
And he does need a dragon when you're ready.
Yep, there we go.
Oh.
Look at this nonsense. Look at them, right there. Wait, are they right there? The image does not load for them. Hang on. Donk. Oh wait, no, that's Fugi Tech. I have like donk, and then there we go. They should be. Oh wait, hang on. Ding donk. Nope, that didn't do it. Why is their image not loaded properly?
That is weird.
Yeah.
I get loaded for a second.
There we go.
I don't care what gender you are. Put on the maid outfit.
Thanks, Blue, for throwing me in a maid outfit.
Aha!
Ha! Aha! 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 Disney property! Alrighty then. Oh, yeah, that reminds me. I need to turn on... Why does my thingamadiggy not stream? There we go. 15 frames a second. You don't
I
need...
just realized what you were.
Get the odds worked out.
I mean, Groot, we could make this worse.
I just realized the outfit you're wearing, Sash, and 10 out of 10.
Alrighty. I now need Sashera's beautiful voice for Yastola.
Oh, hang on, I need to. Yeah.
She needs to do her vocal exercises.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Remember what High School Musical taught us?
Right then. Well, after you've selected a statue, I will imbue it with the required ether. It should prove to be a trap. I am more than capable of warding off any malignant magics it may contain. Now, which statue will it be?
I want to hear the riddle one more time, because... Share to spare, go thy ways, dread burden spare. Mark the crown, heed the call, avert thy gaze, forever full. Fuck. Okay, so there is no mention of a bear, because that wasn't a capital B. Fuck. Is one of them turning the other direction? So, because they're both looking away. They're looking others. I don't... Oh. Just getting into a fight, not to worry. It helps me remember my buttons. Where's my duster? I don't have a feather duster. I'm not that kind of maid, okay?
Hi, Sash.
I'm just thrown into the outfit sometimes.
Do you need some help, Sash?
Okay, so something about a crown and averting their gaze. I feel like the serpent and the coral, it would be one of those two. Is there... Because it's not the wolf and the monkey, because they're facing each other. You need to have... So...
Okay, who has the cat outfit on their chocobo? That's amazing.
That's
Is
fine.
that from... Is that from...
The island.
Frickin... The island?
Yep.
Oh wait, I can
I
do
need
that.
to unlock the island still.
I need to do more Island Sanctuary. I keep forgetting about it because I'm like, I'm too dumb to do it.
I don't even know how to unlock it.
So it's facing away from the serpent
You
statue.
first have to beat Endwalker and then go to Park Dogs.
Okay, I finished that walker. I just need to go to the dock.
It's kind of in a weird corner, but...
I'm confused. What pillars are we looking for again? Is it like the
What?
big pyramid things?
One day I'll convince Sash
You
to
gotta
show me where
answer
it
the
is
riddle.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to help Grant with the riddle.
Give me a sec. So, I swear I'm not a 100% himbo. I can do the puzzle. I'll get it in two. I'll get it in 2 guesses. I just need to read it again, and I'm just gonna write it down. They have the inscription, like, you know, all that kind of nonsense. All right. So. in the notepad. So, come together, share despair, go thy ways, dread burdens bear, mark the crown, heed its call, avert thy gaze, forever fall. Okay, so the crow was facing the serpent. So it's not the serpent or the coral because they're facing each other. So that meets the requirement of come together to share despair. Facing away is forever fall. I don't think it's... Oh, sorry. Yeah, so it can't be the corral or the serpent because they're just sort of like looking away from each other. Dread for...
Could it be the snake?
I think it's the owl. Because it says, mark the crown, heed its call. Which I think if they're facing the pyramids, if that's heeding the call...
I also feel like the owl was the symbol of the royal family.
Yeah.
From memory.
Yeah, so let's give it a try. So, first guess is the owl.
Alright, well I pray this works.
Oh wow, I just realized all our little icons are there.
Yeah, they're all down there in the bottom left. Just as a reintroduction, we've got Xerix, Tatsu, Seshera,
Hello.
Dano, and Arya.
Hello! Oh no, I'm out in the
Well, has
corner.
been absorbed.
There we go.
You really do have a talent for these things.
I say that quite a lot, but no one believes me.
I mean,
It's
they
in
helped
someone as a
someone
lore
repair a
master.
computer.
Sorry, say that again?
I said they did help someone fix their computer.
Yes, that was a work and a half trying to do that remotely. and even then, like, it still broke after like 4 hours, and I was like, it's at that point you take it to professional, and they swap the necessary part.
What's the little dragon chocobo from? He's cute.
The Dragon Chocobo is from the New Year's event just now.
Wait, is it
Oh,
event
I'll
on
have to go
currently?
do it.
The event is on currently.
I'll have to go do it because he's cute. Look at him, Tatsu. Look at him.
Wait a second, let me get off my chocobo.
Look at him.
Oh my god, I
Hello
love
there.
it. Is it just a chocobo you get?
This year,
Hello.
at least.
I mean, it's
Wait,
still
oh my
pretty cool.
god.
Yeah.
Kitty!
Bunny girl.
Hey, Jason.
Hi, Jason. Submit. Oh, cookie for Jason. Here's your cookie, Jason. What are you doing here? What has happened? Elmorian soldiers! They have entered Yexmarja!
Hello.
Elmorian
Elmorian
soldiers? Oh, yeah, that's Sashera's line.
I was gonna say, did you?
I'm an idiot.
What is the blessed?
Nothing specific, but it seems the Elmorans had little interest in Slitherbow or its people. According to our scouts, their general and his men made all haste for the gates to Yexmarja upon finding it. Together with Thancred, Umet and some others have engaged them at the border. You are to return and assist Umet at once. They are not to set foot near the ruins or Fanau. We will see to matters here and return as quickly as we can. Yes, sister. Be careful.
Hello.
Hi, YY.
Quick.
Yshtola does not
please.
believe him.
Though I knew time was short, I did not expect the Ulmorans to move so swiftly. But we've come too far to come back now. Tongue twist.
Tongue twist. So yeah. Alright, so yeah. But no, I've got the oh, that's the wrong one. Hang on a second. Where is
Oh,
it?
how much do you need?
But yeah, there we go. This is what you get at the end of the. It's just a bit of running around Limsalo Minsa, but look at him.
It's not boy. A little broken.
Carbon. There we go. Look at that.
The little guy.
It's just a little guy.
They're interacting with each other a little bit.
I like how they have a little fire breathing animation too.
Oh yeah.
I love how half the time it just goes to the random chocobos. Carbuncle, Fox. Look at it. Why do I feel like you would, if you could find like a visual mod that you can change the color of the Fox textures, you would most certainly get one.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Wait, Frank, am I permitted to screen share for a minute?
I'm not too sure if you have the means to, hang on. Who asked for screen sharing?
Aria.
I can.
Let me just have a quick check that you... I think you might be able to. Let me just double check.
Oh my God, it looks
Streamers,
like I'm
artists,
dead.
you should be able to.
Okay. I just wanted to ask permission.
No, fair enough. So not everyone can view it. Everyone can view it. I force the connection. They should be able to share.
Hey.
Does it say yes or no for you?
It's not letting me.
Alright, hang on a second.
I can only share it post stream.
Because
Share,
usually
screen
in
share or
channels, but you
stream.
have to be dragged through. You don't have access to sharing screen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alright, give it a try now. I just updated it so streamers and moderators should be able to do the video such.
Nah. It's okay. We can take care of it later.
Alrighty then, fair enough. Fix it out of the post. Dunk. Once again, being hit by whatever the rock Pokemon is called from the thingies.
Attacker?
It,
Yeah.
it's okay. I heal.
Akalaka?
Alright. A baked mega thingy. Almit may have you hurry to the pyramid. Time is against us, friend. Quickly, to the pyramid!
The pyramid?
The pyramids. Here we go. There we go. Now my amenity is turned on. Although everyone here is above... Oh, wait, no. The two of you are level 80. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I rolled the same.
Huh. I thought I was... I don't know why. I thought you and Sash were, level 90 kind of craziness.
Well, for the most part, I am, but not
Now
all
I am.
classes.
I am level 90 and Black Mage and Black Mage alone.
Hmm. That must have been a grind and a half. Joe Cat was like, it's the slowest progression.
It really is, and I'm still on Thaumaturge.
Yep. Alrighty.
It's okay, because that just means I got the last one done first.
Go, my boy. Look at him. He's so precious.
And of course I get the eye.
Look at him. So cute.
Little doggo.
He's a little doggo. It's just a little guy.
Got this mount.
Oh, what mount did you get? Hang on, I want to see this. Oh, so Ara's got the... Ooh,
Argo.
cool motorcycle. Random
This
mouse.
is one of the most expensive mounts you can get from the island.
From the island.
Yeah,
Is that... Oh, is that the... Was that
Is that the
something from Endwalker that was like one of the recent thingy...
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a different place for gathering and such. I have not yet done Eureka or the island.
I'm gonna start the island. I feel like
Yeah.
I'd enjoy the island, I just haven't started it yet.
Yeah.
Well, the island's
It's actually
less
really
like
relaxing.
Eureka and more like Final Fantasy XIV's version of Harvest Moon.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
What
that's
if-
why I'd say I don't
Harvest
like
Moon.
it, because I love Stardew Valley.
What is Harvest Moon?
Farming simulator.
Ah, okay.
It's a farming simulator with the dating game. It's the game that made that popular.
Isn't that Stardew? So like Stardew Valley?
Stardew Valley was made.
Farming after.
Yeah, the creator of Stardew Valley literally stated, I loved Harvest Moon and I wanted to create a game like it.
Yeah, I love how the creators of Stardew Valley are like, if this is the only time we're gonna give movie rights is for Hideo Miyazaki / Studio Ghibli to do it, or David Fincher, which is crazy. Like,
Wait, did they actually do
I
that?
also still
they reported that that's the only reason they'll give movie rights for Stardew Valley is if one of those two creators are the head of the project, basically.
Yeah,
find...
a Ghibli film of Stardew. Oh my god.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it's an obvious answer. It's like, I
It
feel like
has
a
to be
more
great.
realistic like attempt if they wanted to broaden their list. Makoto Shinkai, just because of like the environmental shots they do and such like that, they would definitely get into it. And plus, I don't think a lot of Western people understand Japan. Whichever studio you go to, they are serious about the food animation. They do not fuck around with food.
Oh, yeah.
I also always find it really crazy that it was only one person that made Stardew.
Wait,
Singular
one?
person.
Like
Yeah,
code, art, all that.
yeah,
yep.
yeah, just one guy. He's also making another game currently, while also working on updates for Stardew.
Jeez.
Jesus Christ. Good for them.
The same with Lethal Company is one person.
Oh, I already knew Lethal Company was like a singular person and such like that. Like, I applaud, when games do that, like that lightning in the bottle thing, it's always to be applauded. But when people are like, oh, this is what AAA industry should be doing or what they should be looking at, that's sort of like, looking at JP Morgan and being like, slapping him on the chest and going like, why don't you go into the lotto? You can make so much from it.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, entirely different beasts are happening here.
The game companies already know what's popular. The indie game developers are like, let's try this random fucking feed, and if it works, it works.
The AAA industry just hasn't had a really good time trying to shift their advantage from, being the honorary, this is the standardization process and such like that for getting good games and such. They haven't moved since, the cartridge and disc era to digital storefront, where it is like there's 9,000 games plus released a year. AAA only releases like 80 a year. You can go through like way more AAA and feel completed and, oh, this is the year's catalog compared to indie games. But the difference is that in the indie category, you can have such lows with the highs. So.
Also true.
Also true.
That is very true.
And because of that, people look at indie companies and are like, yo, this is much better than AAA games, but the AAA games are probably the same quality. It's just that because it was made by an indie company, people are looking at it on a higher remark.
They will give it
Because
a
it's not a
higher
big
remark.
company.
And the thing is that, like, for example, Baldur's Gate 3, everyone's like, oh, this studio, like, first time did this. And it's like, no, this is not the first time they did the tabletop RPG in video games. This is, like, the 9th time they've done it. This is the thing that I think most people forget with indie title creators is very rarely the first game is, like, the popular game. Like, the guy who created Five Nights at Freddy's created 80 Flash games and Unity games before Five Nights at Freddy's. And Five Nights at Freddy's was the last one they made before they were like, they're swearing off video games. It was only because of popularity with YouTube and with the mixture of React players and theorists that he went back into it and did more with it and created the series that it is now and galvanized on it. Lethal Company, same sort of thing. It's not their first time making a game. This is the 8th or 9th time, and games prior to it were all about experimentation. So Lethal Company was the experimentation of VoIP and networking.
Yeah.
So, and the revisionist history that gamers have with titles, I'm not a huge fan of. So,
With Lethal Company, it's honestly a very rare thing because I remember only like one other game that.
I'm gonna raise the volume in Discord because you're a bit faint. Sorry, Zarix.
Oh, I had to turn noise suppression on.
Okay, no, fair enough, fair enough. So,
Yeah.
go on.
With Lethal Company, the developer originally, as he had the game originally on Roblox, so they ported it over to an actual game engine.
Yep. And, you know,
So-
with the nonsense that Unity was doing as well, that was, you know, ballsy for them to go through that as well. They could have easily have moved from, you know, one exploitative platform to another exploitative platform. That would have ruined anyone's day.
Yeah, that took some big cojones.
Yeah. So, but no. All right, we'll get back to the gaming chat and what have you once we get through this cutscene. The switch should be through these doors in the confessional of Topasa the Elder. But why is it not open?
Magic appears to be flowing through the walls, but it's being obstructed as it goes. It's not strange that the only one of these pedestals bears an owl statue.
Owl. No owl.
Sus.
Strange indeed. The second statue was likely hidden to keep the door sealed.
Well, we can cover more ground if we split up. Alma, take the chamber to the south. Grant, the one to the east. I will search the chamber to the west.
Look at her with her fucking drawing glove on, just being like, I will take the one to the west. Me. There needs to be authority behind you, Sashara, when you speak as Gishtola.
How is that not authoritative?
There's your authoritative. That's your authoritative.
That's just Angie Fox, though. That doesn't sound like you stole one.
Sounds closer. Hey, look, owls. What the hell is these things?
Yes.
Great wood rail. They got two faces on them.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, there's the bird on the top of them, and then there's a
woman's face for the belly.
It's like the weird frogs in Dark Souls where they have the big, like, pus-filled balls on either side of their head, but that's not actually their eyes. Their eyes are like these little black dots, like where you think their nose is. Did I surprise you with that little factoid?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, so it must be in an antechamber then. Because, yeah, it's like this massive circle, and it's most likely in there then. Whee! There we go. Okay, who is this? Who is this? This Santa has been following us. Who is this guy? Look at him.
Read this dude. He's hilarious.
Like, look at him. Hi, like, wave at the. Look at this dance. This honestly looks like a fucking Santa as well. Like, it's not named Santa Claus. They're just Matsuo Namikaze. But, like, who are
Surely
you?
It's someone in your chat. Surely it's someone in your chat. They're a traveler.
Someone.
It has to be.
Like, view the adventure plate. Look at them.
I did.
Look at them. Hope your day is well. My day is going well. They're from Lamia Primal. Look at they look so much like Santa.
Are you sure it isn't Santa Claus?
I'm pretty sure it isn't
It's
Santa
owls.
Claus. It's January.
Are you saying
Wait,
Santa Claus
hold on.
doesn't exist on any
Hold
other
on.
month other than December?
No, I'm saying, like, he's probably busy, like, being magical the rest of the year, making the next slew of gifts. You're talking about approximately 2 billion children in the world at one time.
Or
That's-
taking a small break.
Yeah, he's gonna have a little break before he starts building again.
That's Boxing Day.
You're
I did not deny the existence of Santa. Thank you very much, unnamed. I wasn't denying that shit. Don't you dare deny me this.
He's denying it.
Definitely.
Definitely denying it. How dare the blasphemy.
I don't know how Santa operates. There have been a number of theories, all right? And, like, the only reason we know about Santa is because, like, NORAD keeps an eye on him when he travels. I think it's NORAD that is the one that keeps an eye on them.
I think that you're correct on that.
Yeah.
And again, I am terrible with evidence sometimes.
I have looked everywhere and... Wait! What is that? It's an owl. The statue! You found it! It looks light enough. We need but return it to the other altar, no?
One might assume so, but nothing about these ruins has ever been quite so simple. I sense a strange energy emanating from the eyes of the statues in the corridors of this palace. Should this figure be moved, it would not surprise me for them to suddenly stir to life.
A trap, then? For the unsuspecting as they attempt to return this to its rightful place.
Precisely. Caution would serve us well here.
NORAD does track Santa every year, so if he's not real, how come... Again, I'm not denying his existence. I'm just, like... This is one of those cases that I understand that there's an existence of Santa, and I will have my theories on how it goes about, but I'm fairly certain we're not seeing Santa in a random American server in Final Fantasy XIV. What's more, in a random, like, Aztecian-styled, thingy.
Hey, you don't know. Maybe he could be adapting to the times.
I am fine with what you're saying, Grant. The one thing I don't agree with what you're saying is, why the fuck you only giving Santa Claus 1 day off of work? Give him at least a month.
Because there's too many children, and they're exploiting Christmas by asking for bigger and more expensive things, and he might be magical, but the income in the wares is not. They are very real.
Hold on. And you don't think that he would find a way to adapt to that?
Like, he has the workforce, like, don't get me wrong, but, like, you know...
Plus, there's 3D printing too, so...
I would love to see a submission of you guys trying to explain to me of, like, here's how Santa has adapted to the modern day as they need to move away from, you know, standardized methods of toy making from the wood and the paints, and then keeping up to date with the latest safeties, because don't forget, there was a time where lead was in the paint and asbestos was in the ceiling. Also, unions. Is there an elf union? Is he a denier of the unions? Is there a representative that can talk to us about the elves and their representation within the workplace? Because don't forget, he is a figurehead. He is the one that's getting all the deals with Coca-Cola and all the other, like, brands out there. But we're not getting much about the elves, are we? The elves are always put down as, like, you know, these little short people. Unless you watch Will Ferrell's Elf. Then it gives you real elf representation.
Yeah. I can't argue with that.
I just feel like Santa should have more day off.
Not to worry. What are those? Those are my friends. This is Xerix, Tatsu, Sashera, and Arya. We're currently going through an MMO night of going through Final Fantasy XIV, and right now I'm just waiting on Sashera to give us Yashtola's voice line.
That's okay. I was waiting for the conversation to wrap up so that I wasn't interrupting.
No, fair enough.
Alright. An abundance of magic yet courses through these walls. For my eyes, distractingly so. I believe yours, on the other hand, would be more aptly perceive the traps for what they are.
Sounds good. Those attachments on your chest. On the maid outfit, they're called doilies. I think that's what they're called, isn't it? Like when they got the frilly looking thingy-majiggy, those are doilies, right?
You mean lace?
Lace, sorry. What's doilies?
Doilies are specifically little things you make for tables.
Oh. So these things. So yeah, this is apparently lace.
Yes.
I didn't make the maid
see it
outfit.
with
It
the
was made. It was made for me. Thank you, Unnamed, for fixing it. Liberation for the suppressed people of the Fae. Yep. Oh my gosh, Morse has a story. He says that the elves are sent to a farm, but he's grown up and he believes they get put down.
Oh.
I think usage is referring to your pecs.
Oh. Well. They're pecs. As, like, fun fact, with a fursona, you can create whatever the fuck you want. Like, look at Sashera. Have you seen a purple fox before? No, I bet you haven't. Have you seen a white and with blue accented, I want to say wolf, is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Also, monochromatic sheep. Actually, most sheep are technically monochromatic, so that's
I'm
fine.
also not a sheep. I'm a kobold. I'm a kobold.
I'm gonna be switching the model for a different one soon. So yeah, I'm gonna be a sheep.
This is great. If it makes it easy, I'll change back to my other model.
It's okay. I'm sorry for misspeciesing you. I just thought it's the wool.
I mean, the fluffy hair works. I'm curious with the where you were going with the tail.
Thank you. Sheeps have tails.
Yeah,
You live in Australia. You know.
They're very tiny tails.
Well, that could have just been a species change. Because like, look at me. Like, do you think there are zebras this swole? I could outrun.
Yeah.
Have you seen Marty, the zebra? That man's secretly
From
cool as
Madagascar?
fuck. Yeah.
You mean Chris Rock's character?
Yeah.
Explain.
You seen how fast that man runs? He's got legs for days.
But like swole. Anyway, Sash.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted by whatever this conversation.
Craziness is what it is. I'm surrounded by crazy people.
This is now the third
You're
day
the
in
brains
a
that
row
cost.
of chat craziness, and I don't know how it's happening.
Autism. That's how.
True.
I hope it's
Valid.
Crazy chaos.
Alright then. We will meet you at the door to the confessional of Tapasa the Elder.
Deliver the owl statuette to the altar at the entrance of the confessional. You will have 2 minutes to complete. Oh, I know how this works. This will be easy.
Do you though?
Yeah, this is like the time when they gave us the. Oh my God! There's a bear. Oh my God! There's
3
a
minutes,
bear. No, I just. Oh, okay.
Here's a bear. Where's the bear?
Santa's got the bear.
Yay!
Oh, the polar bear? I have the polar bear.
Thank you, Sashera, for reminding me I had a fucking statue to move. I just love how you're just like, Grant, the statue. He's just like, right, time limit.
Wait for it, Chad.
The owl statue takes on an eerie glow as the lights fade. You realize it's disappeared from your... Oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's not just run straight through the room, by the way.
Okay, I think I know exactly what I need to do. Don't worry, I'll pick up the statue. Give me a second.
Uh-oh.
You deal with the thingamadoogs.
I knew that was gonna happen too. It was like, just wait for it, Chad. Just wait for it.
You're just like Dwight, where you're just sort of like, I will just be observing him. I will not help him.
I'm gonna defeat. Oh, never mind. Aria's got it. I was gonna say I'm gonna defeat this bear with a fry pan.
So yeah, it's like I may even leave him to be killed, as I will only observe.
Usagi, if you really want, we can just take the shirt off, and then you don't even need to hold the pecs anyway.
All right,
Sure.
here we go.
Grant.
I know exactly what I'm doing. Oh hey, you're wearing an outfit. I know exactly what I'm doing.
I hope that helps. Does that help?
I don't know. Does it?
It does.
Okay, it does. Awesome.
It does? Hell yeah.
Peloton!
Alrighty, here we go, here we go.
Oh.
Don't mind me. Look at my run. Look at my form. There is barely any sort of, like, swaying in the hips. It's like crit...
Grant,
Yeah? What's up?
where are you going?
Oh!
You went.
You silly
I'll go get
goober.
him.
Yeah, I was just... The model has
Also
earned you a
says-
follow. Thank you for the follow, I greatly appreciate
See my new
it.
paladin climb?
That's amazing.
Made it! I don't know why anyone was worried. You successfully delivered the statuette to the altar. But yeah, thank you, Isagi, for the follow. I greatly appreciate it. And I'm glad that you like the model. It's absolutely amazing. I have a ref sheet as well. Hang on. Does it go to the right place? No, it does not, because I need to... Hang on, I need to fix that right away. I have a new, FA account now. Because the other name makes no sense in the context of, reference image. Here we go. And
I
then-
also wish you could toggle the glowing on for this jacket.
There we go.
Yeah.
Bonk. Alright, so... There we go. So yeah, because the actual, the new link for my FA is... It's still, like, relatively fresh, because I only did it, like, when... It's only when I did the, like, after the new year that I did the new account. I should have done it, like, before the new year, so then that way after, like, a month or two, it wouldn't be seen as, like, a brand new account, and I wouldn't have this trouble in uploading all the new all the old images again, but I'll take my time. Also, yes, Ficus is an amazing artist. Most, like, fun fact, most furry artists are good artists. Sash is an artist.
No, I'm a hobbyist.
Artist. Tatsu, you do art, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do art.
Nice. Arya does art.
And
I
I will
did my
be
PNG.
I will be starting to practice sewing so I can make plushies.
Ooh,
Nice.
plushies.
I love
Nice.
that.
That sounds
Yes.
cool.
Hell yeah.
And I hope to get good enough to make Sona plushies.
Mm.
Oh,
I
that
love
would
that.
be amazing.
Yes.
Because everyone deserves to have a little stuffy. Everyone.
Fair enough.
I
Agreed.
would eventually love a plushie of Purple Fox and a bear.
I'm
I would
half
also-
imagining like your first, like, here is the first Sona plushie, and it's just a white generic like canine mammal looking like chibi, and it has in blue ink your character here, or YCH.
My god.
I'll do that for a little meme. I'll do that as a meme plushie.
Nice.
That would be
Yeah.
great.
So yeah, because someone went to like a fur con in like the Midwest or something like that in a white dog outfit, and it said, and it was like in a bit of a poor handwriting though, but they put YCH on it as well. So then that
I
way,
remember that.
That's clever.
so yeah, it was just because like the meme is so great of like, who is YCH and why do they have so much art? Alrighty then,
Alright, you ready?
I'm ready.
Well, I believe it was. I can see the anchor flowing to the door now.
And we didn't have to say Bellom.
Or
I pray
open
this means an
sesame.
end to the tricks and traps in these ruins. Well done.
Thank you, Sash. Lie. You are but one step from entering the Quatana Raval, but I must warn you, this last step is without question the most perilous. Overcome this final trial and the path forward will be open to you.
Path laden with more puzzles and traps, I'm sure. But the Emperor always takes such pleasure in wasting the time of his allies.
Let us end this, Grant. While time is yet on our side.
Nice.
I'm getting back in my swing now.
Alrighty then. Before we enter, I would tell you of the trial that awaits you. The chamber is set to be filled with all manner of devices to keep trespassers away from the switch. The most potent being wards of displacement. They may very well force you into danger. Should we become separated, please use these. Whisper weeds.
That's the solo part.
Yep.
Whisper weeds. They will allow us to communicate no matter where we find ourselves.
I believe Grant and I can work out how to use these well enough. Thank you. Alright, Grant. The sooner we finish here, the sooner we can return to the others. Is this what I think it is?
Shall we get this over with?
Solo.
Duty calls.
Oh, solo. Okay. Bye, Grant.
Alrighty.
See you in a bit.
I
Yeah.
love how your head
I'll
moves
hang
whenever
around.
I go
Can I?
red.
Oh yeah, Xerix is party leader, so
Alright.
here we are. I promise I won't fuck this up.
I believe in you.
Thank you. I have Almit with me. She's so helpful. Let's hurry before the Ulmerons gain any
No,
ground.
don't fuck it up.
Alrighty. Reach the bowels
And
of
before he
the.
does.
Don't fuck it up. Fuck her though.
Curse any who enter the pyramid is said to be seen by them is to be seen by death. Okay.
Stealth mission.
Oh, that can be fun.
Easy. Okay, so yeah, it's only when they're all here that I can... Ooh, there's like a thingy. Sister! Sister, can you hear me? 2 soldiers have broken through our defenses. Follow them. They are not to reach this temple. A pair of soldiers somehow made it past my sisters, no doubt on their way here. Oh, the more reason we should hurry then. Alrighty. Let's see. Oh, get here, get here, get here, in here, in here.
Fast.
I'm going fast, I'm going fast.
Gotta go fast.
It's just a question of whether... I have gone through enough Assassin's Creed and Batman Arkham series to like know how to stealth it, alright? Stealth is optional, is not a thing of, is not a permission for me to use the bazooka. It's a test of skill for me.
Whenever I hear stealth, I hear make loud noises.
Yeah.
Oh.
We must run with all haste. Alright.
Listen.
Let's see, let's see, let's
Stealth?
see.
Right? No. Look, hear me out. Stealth isn't really something someone with either A, dumb trunk booty, or B, big titty can really pull off.
I can pull off stealth. I can pull off stealth.
Nah.
So many times I've been like, even with my eyes, I have been able to pull off the nonsense of, you know, walking up beside someone and they don't realize I am there. They're just sort of have this moment of,
Didn't see it didn't happen.
fuck. Just like the
Didn't
gif.
see it didn't happen.
Nah, they just don't see me coming.
No. Didn't see it didn't happen.
Bzz.
Didn't see it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Eh?
Alrighty. Okay, so we're in a random... Oh, hang on. Let's see.
You ever do Team Rocket's base in Pokemon?
Yeah, I did. I know. It looks familiar. So. Alright. So. Yeah, so even if we. Let me just see if it does exactly what I think it does. Because.
You're on a timer, FYI.
Oh. Yep, cool. And then. Yep, so it does exactly that. Oh, no. Takes me back to the beginning. Never mind. So that's not the one I want. Go. Ease. Oh. There we go. Oh, 25 minutes. I got time. Alright, you have a good night, Unnamed. I'll see you on Monday morning for me. I'm gonna be playing War Thunder with them.
Ooh, War Thunder.
You know, I was more referring to your health bar because you were breathing poison.
Oh. I'm a tank. I'm good.
Yay! Because this is mandatory.
Oh, yeah, it's an Indiana Jones reference.
Yep.
Yeah, it's an Indiana Jones reference. Whatever it's called, from the Temple of Doom.
Correct.
The Boulder Run.
Run!
Even Sonic Adventure had that.
Yep. Oh. Crevice in the wall. Oh shit. They are not giving us a lot of leeway, are they?
Nope.
Jesus. I thought it was something I could like actually sprint. Whee! And no fall damage in the water. No going back now. Pray it's not much farther. Let me move! Ah, it's Ranjit.
Oh shit, Ranjit.
Ranjit. It's the Dragon Ball assassin again.
Oh boy.
I can
Is
never.
it bad that I forgot who Ranjit is?
It's okay. I have honestly forgotten about our first antagonist from A Realm Reborn. What's a Mahoozies? The major one from the Praetorium.
Yeah, the Black Wolf.
Yes, him. Oh no, it's Ranjit! Oh, damn it.
Oh shit, Ranjit!
Away with you!
My first option was, oh, let me just run to that door.
Here I come!
Let me see if I can get rid of this adjutant. I think that might be the right move. Wait, am I supposed to leave him?
That's the defeat Ranjit.
Oh yeah, it is. Wow, this guy is... Oh, that explains it. I don't have my enmity thing on.
This, and that, and this!
Good job.
Huh? No, never mind. They're just not aiming for me. No, Ranjit is not Wesker. Remember the assassin from Dragon Ball who went up against Goku before he went up the giant totem pole thing where the cat was living with the water thing.
Yeah.
So that's who Ranjit reminds me of, is that assassin, whatever his name is. Oh shit. Which is the button? There we go. Hopefully that helps.
We must...
Oh, that's the fucking tank. I'm an idiot. I thought he was a healer. I didn't realize he was a paladin. This is a waste of my talents. What? Why don't I... There we go. Alright. What am am I supposed to do? Oh, sealed door. Okay.
Well, that startled me.
It's the Jumanji.
Jumanji?
What a
Jumanji.
When the Lahi just hits out of the blue.
It seems to be working.
Ah. Goddamn martial artists.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
I think not.
Nice.
General, hold on!
Should I care who that guy is?
No.
Cool.
Uh,
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't gonna be like a, oh, reveal, he's... Okay, yep, here he is dying. Oh, nope, he survives. Good on you, Paladin.
somehow.
Now, is Ranjit gonna be extra evil and kick him off?
Expertly done.
See? You hear this tone, Sash?
Mm-hmm.
It does give Sash vibes, not gonna lie.
It looked like any other part of the floor.
That's it. You're not getting any healing.
You're not getting
Me?
any other part of the floor.
No, Grant.
Hmm.
Might now be
The
an
deal
opportune time to
was no
strike a
bullying.
bargain.
It's been
We
15.
poisoned a number of
It's been at
villages
least
in Flitterbow
15
with a
minutes.
toxin brewed for us
They
by
have
the
a point.
children.
But
Damn it, Xerax.
This is the antidote.
You gotta have it coming.
I dare say you know how potent their concoctions
Wait,
are,
what happened?
and the futility of trying to counteract
Nothing
their
involved now.
effects.
Oh,
I got knocked with an anvil, and it hit me so hard that I went unconscious and revealed my undergarments.
Oh no.
we.
Now, try anything here,
Ah.
and we're all likely to fall.
What color were they?
I'm not sharing that
Someone will
nonsense.
come to our rescue, or yours.
Chat. What color were they?
Promise us safe passage, and we'll give you the antidote.
Wait a second. I know how to tell. I know how to check. I know how to check.
Do we have a deal?
Don't do it.
He's not wearing undergarments. I'm sorry to say.
What?
I stole his shirt. There's
We
no
do
undergarments.
not negotiate with the enemy.
Rip.
The villagers' lives are forfeit, as is
Why
yours.
is that a rip?
I don't know. It just is, okay? Listen.
I knew that was
gonna
gonna happen, but not in that fashion.
Ah, rip. Now that's a rip. And a half. Insert to Zanarkand here.
Do not fail.
A test of your reflexes.
Oh god. No.
Oh, look, your solo dies part 2 electric boogaloo.
I reckon she teleported herself again and got double blinded.
How noble and pointless.
Asshole.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is everyone all right?
This isn't good.
What in the...
Oriage! At once! Down with you!
He used the rescue trick!
The who?
Rescue. It makes it so you can pull them at like a certain distance, and I've seen the Joe Cat where it's like I can look at me as I pull them into this hole in the middle of the stadium. I find it hilarious.
Listen, it's a healer's obligation to use rescue.
Where is Y'shtola?
Yep. There's just the funny one of like, oh, the black mage looking at the healer after it was rescued. It was standing in a ley line that was seeped in AoE. Hi, Tatsu's friend or partner or whoever is on the other side. I'm a zebra.
That was my brother.
Hi, Tatsu's brother.
He's burned for the winter myron because he wasn't giving it attention.
You what?
Thankfully, Ranjit's cohorts had the good sense to fall back. Uyamet should be here soon with word from Fanao. We should hold our positions here until she arrives. Ooh, Teakwood, Celeste, and Lime. We must now be sad for Y'shtola. Though I'm pretty sure she is alive by Endwalker because of the cinematics that I've seen. The, like, trailer. She's, like, in a parliament or something.
Where are you guys? Are you guys in, Fandor?
Not
Now?
just yet.
Grant's in a cutscene at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Olmit.
But he's just outside the temple.
Yeah. Olmit, please tell me you know if that hole might lead out into the woods somewhere. Were there another means of exiting the temple, there is no question that we would know of it. But I fear that is of little consequence, for we had tried to mark the depths of the pit, and failed. To fall from such a height. Sister, I come bearing news! The Ulmo soldiers and the children have fled Yxmaja. They abandoned Slitherbow as well, though they yet remain in the swamps near Lakeland. Unfortunately, a number of the Blessed were poisoned while fending off the soldiers. One we believe to be of their order was found lost in Yxmaja, feverish and badly wounded. He was taken to Fanao for treatment, but I fear there is little we can do for him. He and the other Blessed will not last long without an antidote. Then we must act quickly. If you've a spare vial, Mephilia and I can deliver it to the Blessed at Slitherbow. You and Urianger should return to Fanao and tend to the wounded villager there. Potion? Potion. What about Y'shtola? I know it seems callous of us to leave, but she leapt into that hole for a reason. We have to save the Blessed, whatever it takes. All right. My sisters and I will remain here. We must be certain no soldiers are still lurking about. Come, Grant. Let not Y'shtola's sacrifice be in vain. To Fanao. Alrighty, I am now back at Fanao at this distance. Lahi. Oh, Jesus. Hi, Tatsu.
Hello.
Oh, wait. Thank you, Zarix.
May I be invited, Zarix?
Oh, I already gave the leadership to Grant.
Oh, let me see if I can... Did I aim correctly? Yes, I did. Excellent.
I love that mount, by the way, Sash.
Wait, where's the...
I love the mount.
Okay, so they're downstairs.
Edition.
Nice. If we don't get into a dungeon at, like, you know, like within an appointed time and some shit. I am going to borrow you for the Minstrel's Ballad of Nidhogg's Rage, unsynced. Renar! No! It's our Scottish boy! Sorry?
Isn't he French?
French, sorry. He's our French boy! Sorry, I was thinking of Cap, and Cap, like, Scottish thing. Heavens forfend Runar. 'Twas he who foresaw the Ulmorian's possession, and in doing so afforded thee time to traverse the temple. Quickly, the antidote. Watch as I just, like, break it over his head. Le groan. Renar still appears visibly pained. Perhaps he requires another dose of Madason. For a third dose?
Moss.
Just like... like, to him just being, if that was more than Y'shtola. Look, I'm like, Y'shtola and most of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn to this point in time, I feel like just have a little bit of plot armor. Whereas Runar, I have not seen before. He is a good boy, he has a French accent, and I'm not having him, I don't want him ending up like Hatchafont.
Not my boy, not my boy, it's still too soon.
Hatchafont! The medicine seems to shut up. The medicine seems to take effect as the color slowly creeps back into his cheeks.
I love how me and my older brother had the same reaction when it happened. We were like, no, who's gonna make us hot chocolates when we're sad now?
I remember someone did a meme where it's just like, where it was just like, you know, they like voiceover things, and it's like, and it was like, I think it was like from an anime about dogs or something like that, and it's like one person's like in the heaven, they're like, how'd you die? And it's just, you have a picture of Honchafon, he's just like, with my best friend. And he's like, no, but how did you die? And he's like, with my best friend. And I was just like, ah!
My boy!
My boy! Honchafont!
It's always too soon.
It would appear the worst hath passed, though his wounds yet want for mending. I shall minister to him forthwith, using healing stones and astrologian powers. Rest, Grant. I prithee, I shall attend to Runar's ministrations. Get healed with essential oils. That's it. That's what I was thinking of. Oh no, Y'shtola, I guess. Runar, no! Just like Runar. Care a lot more about Runar. I just...
Okay, but what do you think's gonna happen when Runar wakes up?
He's gonna lose his accent. I don't care about Y'shtola, okay? She has plot armor. I'm guessing she's just teleported while she was falling, or she does a Gandalf thing, where she, like, gets out of this dimension and then back in again.
Thank goodness.
Can do the auto-advanced.
We delivered the antidote to Slitherbough, and from what we could gather on the way here, the Ulmorans have had the good manners to withdraw. Thank the gods they did. We would never have made it here in time. I'm told we have Runar and his comrades to thank for keeping the soldiers occupied prior to their retreat. They were preparing to come for you and Y'shtola, it seems, when Runar rallied the villagers and pursued them out of Slitherbough.
I must. Where am am I?
You're in the village of
Ixmaya,
rabbit
in the
girls.
care of the Vis. Thou art safe now, friend. Pray, rest thee a while longer.
No. No, I am all right. Somewhat heavy of limb, perhaps, but otherwise well, I assure you. I am glad to see you are all safe. When we realized where the soldiers were headed, we knew something had to be done. I do not see Master Matoya. She was with you, yes? What happened to her?
She'll come back or something like that. She saved the Knights Blessed, albeit at a cost.
Spare me your riddles and speak plain. Where is Master Matoya?
Me just going.
No. No. Oh, that cannot be. Why would she do such
Meanwhile,
a
they're
thing?
over here bawling their eyes out, and you're just going. That's terrible.
Was there no other way? I cannot believe that she... We must begin the search immediately. I will come with you. What are you waiting for? We must find her. She could be trapped, or hurt, or...
Oof, he upsetty.
But...
She is alive. She is alive, damn you!
Ah, poor kitty. Someone give him scritches.
No, he's crying. What?
Because he loves her, damn it!
No.
She can't be dead.
Look, I'm gonna be real. If I didn't see the red hair, I almost thought they were just gonna do a fucking bit.
Interrupting, but our scouts have apprehended an intruder. We thought perhaps he might be an associate of yours.
Associate, maybe. Yes.
I love just the sigh of disdain.
Best reaction.
Oh, look at it. The sigh of disdain.
I recognized him from the fucking glove and the sleeve.
This is embarrassing. In my defense, they are surprisingly tenacious.
Hi, Emmett.
Hi, Emmett.
Hi,
sweetie.
What trouble have you gotten yourselves into this time?
What, like you haven't been watching, sir?
Well, well. What an intriguing turn of events.
This is how someone who doesn't care about the
condolences, by
fandom
the
listens to all of us.
It's never easy to lose the ones we love.
He's like, oh wow, what a turn of events.
Oh yeah, how cool.
Well,
Deckard's
she
about
is
to kick
dead,
him in
isn't
the
she?
balls.
Wishing it were otherwise will not make it so.
Wow, you
Wait,
don't have
hold
to
on.
be so damn blunt,
That you should be
sir.
indifferent to her loss is no surprise. But to us, she was a friend. The best of friends.
What a prick.
Deckard's got murderous intent. Look at that shit.
Oh yeah, he's...
I mean, can you blame him?
He's not the only one.
You have something on your mind. What is it?
If looks could kill,
Yeah, that yeah.
After she fell, there was a powerful gust of wind out of nowhere.
Pray recount to us again that which thou witnessed in the ruins, omitting not the slightest detail.
Flow.
The magical thingamadiggy.
The teleportation magic she used to spirit us away from Uldar after the bloody...
Called it!
I recall a similar gale in the tunnel before it took effect.
Fucking knew it.
Interesting. I thought I sensed a brief disturbance in the live stream. How reassuring to know it was not my imagination.
He's such a smartass. What?
He's just like, oh, I didn't expect it was could have been that person in the live stream.
Still adrift on its currents.
Then I fear she may yet be lost to us.
That's cap.
For it was only by the
You
grace
thought,
of
oh,
the
hey, look,
elementals
one more
that she was
person out of the
plucked from
way.
that great ethereal river.
You're not fooling anyone.
Ah, very well. I'll go and fetch her. Perhaps a clear and unambiguous act of kindness will serve to win the trust you seem so determined to deny me.
I loved him. Look at the face!
They're just not interested.
So punchable.
It's great, I love
Fucking
it.
look at him! Fucking look at him! His eyes, he could be anywhere else right now. This is a man.
It's so
Where's my frying pan? Where's my frying pan?
Look at this man.
I love
Anywhere.
how it's like, oh, she's in the live stream?
It's just like,
I'll get her
oh.
then. What do you mean you'll go get her? What? I'll just go and get her. What? What?
This is a man where this look, I've seen it. This is someone who knows they've worked too long in customer service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Look at this.
So not wrong.
He's so done with this shit. And
look at him.
I love this character.
Now then, if I'm to fetch her for you, I will require a suitable place to work. We must find somewhere that resonates strongly within the live stream. And by we, I mean you. To that end, I give you this. An ethereal lamp of my own design. Keep it close as you venture out into the woods. The brighter the glow, the stronger the location's resonance with the live stream. Once you've found a likely spot, all you need to do is whistle. You do know how to whistle, don't you, hero? Just put your lips together and blow.
That's what she said.
Sorry, I'm just gonna go now. I'm just gonna go now.
Look at this fucker. Look at this half sleepy fucker.
I love him so much.
You know who I love? Look at her. Oh! Helmet. Look at her.
So I probably should not mention that Dan's female Viera looks very similar to that.
Radio. Hi there, BGA. Am I playing this on PC or console? I'm playing it on PC. Look at the fast, whippy nonsense of my cursor. You couldn't do that with a controller. Whee!
True, but fortunately this is one of the few games that'll actually allow crossplay. So there's that too.
Yeah. I confess, I do not fully understand what is happening here, but I gather we were right to bring this man to you. Technically, yes.
He's an asshole, however.
However, he is the highest qualified in the quote-unquote party, so he is highly qualified. Here we go. Yum. Oh, two can play at that game. Oh yeah, where's the ethereal lamp? Inventory.
Like that.
Ethereal lamp. There we go.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, too far. It's gonna be someplace really fucking obvious.
So Shara, how are you taking so much damage? Okay. No, how do I get back? Oh, that one.
Nope. And my Final Fantasy crashed again.
No!
Just as I was hit with bald.
Ow! That's its own thing.
Ridiculous. Alright.
Why does Final Fantasy not like you tonight?
I don't know, but thankfully it's not cracking the shits on the entire PC, thankfully. But it's a DirectX failure, and I have updated my graphics unit, or sorry, my graphics driver this morning. It didn't crash for any of the other games I've been playing today, so it might just be a case of needing to, you know, probably do a verification of either Final Fantasy or the DirectX redistributables. So it's one of those two things. It's not the end of the world.
Could be on Squeenix's side of things too.
So
Like, in fairness, Final Fantasy XIV, I love it to pieces, but my god, it is made of spaghetti.
Oh, definitely.
Most things that are over 10 years old that were not made on reliable tech will be a spaghetti. That's why whenever you hear someone being like, "Oh, we're just gonna make our own engine," no,
You
that's
hear people go, "Aha, good luck with that."
Mm-hmm. It's like,
Also, don't forget Discord stream.
oh yeah.
Sometimes it works out.
Ooh.
A lot of the time it doesn't.
Alrighty, let's
Hold
try.
Now I'd be a fate.
What's this about Arby's?
Hey.
Am I supposed to? Hang on. I need to find the Lahi sounds. So let me go out at any moment. Ah. I swear, if the other members of the party are just standing exactly where I need to... God damn you, stripy horse thing. Deer. Oh, okay, they're having a bit of a problem. Oh, the level sync, that's why. I was wondering what was going on. Hopefully once this fate is gone, it will be smoother sailing looking around here.
Because typically when there's fates, like as far as I know, when there's fates, it can be a little janky.
That's how you get stripy horse. Look, I knew it wasn't a zebra because it wasn't called that. I just forgot like, what kind of mammal it was. There we go.
Yay!
We got ourselves some bicolored
Happy
gemstones. Nice.
Yay! Okay.
Glows faintly. Okay, so we're closer this time.
And that's not the area.
Nope. Okay.
Oh, I finally got ring 2. Perfect.
Okay. Glows brightly.
Oh, pretty horse.
Is near blinding. Perhaps now would be a good time to call for Emmett. This is a random point in... I'm sorry, but why here? Look at this spot.
Yes. No question.
I will question it. The point of the live stream is that it's supposed to be like flowing in different... This is in the middle of the path, and it's not even like a descriptive part of the path either. Fucking bullshit. Watch as Emmett doesn't even appreciate it.
Yes, this place should serve well enough. Might I have a little space? I need to concentrate.
Oh, excuse me. Thancred is just giving him some side eye.
The question is it a criminally offensive side eye? Or is it just bombastic?
Just bombastic.
Rip.
Now then, what color was her soul again?
As if you weren't just, you know, spying on us for well over a year.
Ah, there you are.
You're wearing gloves. That's bullshit.
I mean, in fairness, there... I can't believe I forgot his name, but there was one about Alchemist's character that did the same.
You're talking about the fire one.
Yep.
But here's the thing, is like, he had to create the initial spark anyway, or he had at least the thingy-majiggy on his, on the glove that did it.
You don't gotta explain shit.
Oh.
He's done it. He's brought her back.
Look away, kids! Oh, never mind. Okay.
Yeah, Roy Mustang. That's who you're thinking of.
Thank you.
Ishtola, are you alright?
You should check your DMs.
Thank you, Morse. Oh wow, Y'shtola is back. Wow, who could have foreseen this? Sacrificing her life with such a huge impact for... Has it only been 3 minutes, Morse?
What happened?
Thou didst invoke the power of flow, which thence did usher thy soul unto the life stream.
I wanted to save the antidote, and after that... I did something exceedingly reckless, for which you will just have to forgive me.
Aww.
Matoya! Oh, thank the heavens you're alright. I had nearly given up hope.
You tell me that's not the cutest fucking couple you ever seen in your damn life.
Please, Renard, dry your tears.
Here's the
What do you
question.
think if they saw
Does
you
she
like this?
reciprocate?
Yes.
I don't know. Wait, does she actually?
Come now.
Well, she wouldn't
Did you
be
really
trying to
think I would
get
go
back to the
gently into
first
that
so
dark
badly
night
if
with
she
so
didn't.
much left undone? So many mysteries left unsolved.
That's spoilers, Ash.
It's mild spoilers.
Is there aught you wish to say to me? A word of thanks, perhaps?
Thanks.
Emmet
I just
Selk,
love
the
hearing
Ascian of
Griff's
whom I
disdain
spoke.
for this character.
'Twas he who plucked thee from the live stream.
I see. Thank you. Differences notwithstanding, you saved my life, and for that I am grateful.
How did we get them out of the live stream last time?
Let us turn our attention to more important matters, such as the Katana Ravel. You had better not have explored its depths without me.
I'll tell you after you got some rest.
Well, Almet and the others should be pleased to see you in such uncharacteristically high spirits. Let us return to Fanoff then, and discuss the coming expedition. Alrighty, Emmett. Lahi! What a touch... Hang on. What a touching reunion. What a touching reunion that was. It fair brought a tear to my eye, but as we both know, such tender moments are nothing if not momentary. Before long, they will return their many differences and return to squabbling. You're wrong, they're better than that. Oh, if I had a guild for every time one of you heroes made that claim. But seriously, we Ascians do what we do for the greater good, for the rejoining. Though we may sow the seeds of chaos, it is man who tends them, he who reaps their bountiful harvest. But I grow tired of these arguments. If you would kindly refrain from retorting and returning to your customary brooding silence, I will take it as thanks for rescuing your companion and leave it at that. Now then, you must keep your friends... Wait, you mustn't keep your friends waiting.
Basically, stop being a sassy motherfucker for 5 minutes.
Asshole. Alrighty.
Where are you going?
I got some blue ticks I need to take care of for some, what's-a-mahoozy stuff.
Light him up!
Light 'em up, boys!
Kind of roll.
Do you think... Alright, hear me out. Who here has played Monster Hunter?
Me.
I have.
Have
I'm
any
currently...
of... Go on. You're currently what?
I'm currently creating a Kulturov kobold.
Alright. Would you think hunting games like Cabal's Big Game or the Hunt Way of the something or other, would those be shorter or longer than the hunt in Monster Hunter?
Depends.
I feel like the use of the gun in the hunting games means that the hunt is faster than Monster Hunter.
In fairness, the bow guns are not the greatest to do.
Because like
Search for monsters.
because so far every weapon I feel like is slow, like when you keep to pace in Monster Hunter. There's no like, you know, oh, here's a fighting technique where you hit the thing for like 60% of their health with a combo. It's like you have to repeat like 100 combos before it, you know, I don't know. This is from my solo experience, which is not a guarantee.
What game is that?
Monster Hunter.
No, the other one.
Oh, hunting games.
Hunting?
Yeah.
Just in general.
Just general hunting games, like Cabal's Big Game or Hunter Way of the... Hang on, what's the game called? It's shown up on my like store like featured page. Yes, thank you for the Final Fantasy XIV with the expanded free trial. I already have it. The Hunter Call of the Wild. There we go.
I'd say Wild Hearts.
Wild Hearts is that's not a hunting simulator though.
That's a
Oh, you mean hunting.
Yeah, I mean hunting.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, Monster Hunter is definitely... It wanted to draw the fight out.
I'm not a fan of that.
Monster Hunter is a boss hunter. It's a boss hunter game.
Yep.
See, it's a different style of game because Monster Hunter, the whole thing is, oh, I want to fight this big monster and I want it to last a while, whereas hunting games like the one you were talking about, it's like, hey, I just want to kill the deer and collect it.
It's this, like, one is, like, as you said, one's like a boss fight, and the other I feel like is a methodical stealth.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of Monster Hunter though, I was scared twice playing World for the first time.
I have Worlds and I have Rise. I thought Rise was the newer game. Why is so many people playing Worlds?
Because Worlds just better than Rise.
Is it faster?
Yeah,
actually. I want to say faster than Rise, actually. Especially since Rise has the power mill.
Does it have crossplay? Because I only have it on my PlayStation.
No.
They do not have crossplay. Monster Hunter's never had crossplay, it's sad.
Oh my god. Are you serious?
I hope that Wild
We're all crossing our fingers that Wilds will have crossplay.
It's a hard... I feel like crossplay is a hard thing to market for non-gamers. Because like they would not 100% understand the huge deal with it, whereas every gamer is like, this is an essential if you're going to do it on multiple platforms.
At least Warframe is finally getting that.
What is?
Warframe.
Warframe.
I thought Warframe already had it.
They paused the merge transfers and stuff like that for a little bit while they were out of the studio.
Okay.
Yeah, so the account merges should start back up in possibly like within the upcoming weeks. It should start back up.
Alrighty, Yustola. Sash?
Oh, sorry. My apologies for having put you all through such an ordeal. I could see no other way of saving the Knight's blessed. Happily, both they and I yet live, thanks to you. But our work here is not yet done. We must make ready to enter the Katana Ravel with the Light Warden's sword.
Nice. Helmet! Alright, hopefully this is a dungeon. Ooh, the music changed then. With the Ulmorians gone and my companions now returned, I think it's best you go now before they can regroup. With Magitech flowing once more through the Great Pyramid of Uxinea, the entrance to the Katana Ravel should now be open.
Before we leave, Urianger, did you discover another way that may suggest the Light Warden hides elsewhere? Nay. Though we had... I'm sorry for taking your line. I'm just going really fast, Ashara. Nay. Though we had but little time before the Ilmorians' most unwelcome arrival, we have scoured the nearby invens and spoke once more with the one called Coralil. Having hearkened to her tale, it is my judgment that the Sid Eater, which her late mother did espy, was indeed the being we seek, that is most likely residing in the vicinity of Raktika Falls. In the absence of a subsequent sighting, I have no reason to believe our quarry hath sought out a new sanctuary, and given the considerable difficulty we face in reaching the falls, we may certain it hath not been disrupted by man. Then our course is clear. We must navigate the Cortana Ravel and the thingamadoogie, though it seems as though the knowledge is set to reside within, knowledge which is rightly yours as allies of Ronka, you are welcome to explore. I fully intend to survey every ilm of it once our mission is complete. Were the warrior still alive, he would be overjoyed to hear you say so, but I must warn you, though the way is open, it is still be heavily guarded. Noted. To discourage trespassers and test the worthy of allies, it has to be so. Be careful in there. Heading east and you will find the path of azure flowers leading to the Ravel. I wish you safe passage through its walls. Master Matoya, hang on. Oh, oui. Master Matoya, I know I cannot dissuade you from going, so please, promise me you will return safely. The Knights Blessed need you. You need not worry, Runa. I shall return, and bring with me a long-awaited gift. One of the Knights Blessed will treasure now and forevermore.
The wedding ring.
Now, let us away. I must fly. This way.
I couldn't fly.
Neither can I. It's okay.
I got.
Did you got the?
I'm just grabbing the blue ticks as I go along.
I mean, I could grab the whale.
Whales for chubs.
Whale.
Ooh.
I found an ether current. I don't know how he's gonna have this one.
Alright, oh, there we go. Aether current.
Yep. I just found this one too, was the funny part.
Stop calling me simp, Morse. I don't know how long that is.
Say that word on Twitch.
I don't know how long ago they put that there. Also, look at the bestest boy. Best mount in the game. Look at him.
Agree to disagree.
My favorite's still just a fat chocobo.
Look, the Afghan Hound looks, or actually no, that's not the Afghan Hound. What is that breed? Because that dog is based off a real breed. That's not a made up.
Is it Shiba?
No.
Shiba Inu.
The Shiba Inu is the one I'm on. The one you're on, I'm talking about. Like, hang on a second.
Oh.
Is it is it the Afghan Hound? Yes, the Afghan Hound. Aria's is based off the Afghan Hound.
Mine's based off of a chicken.
Yes. I will not be questioning that.
Oh my god. Cabbage.
Listen, my big boy.
You can feel the aether flowing through the door. A gentle push may be all that's required. Cookie for YY. Here's your cookie. No, you do not get to have my juicy biceps. Our earlier efforts were not in vain, it seems. Stay on your guard, Grant. We know We do not know what lies inside. Excellent! Let's have a look at the thingamadiggy and see what it is. Oops.
Wait, I just realized, isn't...
1 to 4 players. Alrighty then.
Yeah, that's
I'll
what I was
leave,
gonna
please.
No, because... Alright, so either Sash or Arya is to be the DPS.
I can switch DPS. I can switch DPS.
Alrighty.
Yeah, just did.
Awesome.
I'm good at Dancer.
Only a party leader may register. Oh, Xerix.
Xerix!
Yep. There you go.
Yay!
Let's mash it up!
Woo!
Okay, let's see if I remember how to fucking heal.
Let's see if you do. Eh?
This is gonna be fun.
Wait, you're all here in the Discord. Why did I send that?
Why'd you do what?
I sent in the party, hello, I'll do my best to tank. I'm just streaming right now. I send that every time I go into any, like, sort of group thingy-majiggy in this MMO, just so then that way there's, like, you know, context to maybe a little bit of the fuckery that pops up.
Oh my god, Xerix, your profile.
Xerix, that's a good...
Yeah.
I need to fix mine. Mine is not doing what I... Oh.
I forgot I hit
Keep
this
an eye on
boss.
the statues.
He's not even boss.
Back here, back here, back here, back here.
Oh.
Or, you know, this enemy, if you will.
Oh, okay, it's one of those... It's like the Mario Party game.
Yep.
Yep.
Now here. Over here.
We have, like, completely different... There we go. Do we get a chest? No, we do not. Okay. Moving on. Sorry?
It's not a boss.
Oh, that wasn't a oh, Jesus.
That was that was our first enemy?
Yep.
What?
Alright, just having this moment of, oh, the DPS is getting the mob? Why?
Incoming run.
Huh?
Ah,
Yeah. Oh, the cube. You were talking about the cube. I thought there was like a special AoE thing that was gonna happen that wasn't on
No, just avoid that there was something else we might have to pull off.
the... Oh, okay.
That's my bad. I should be a little bit more clear when I see.
That's okay. It's quicker, like, there's quicker information that can be shared when spoken rather than typed. So, but, you know. I just, you know, I get lost in the sauce.
I have a habit of being vague because I find it, okay, this is probably but it's more fun to watch people figure out.
Yeah, no, fair enough. It's one of those cases of, like, directing attention for the lesson, not directing for the answer. There we go. Alright, try and pull him a little more into the circle. There we go. I am changing my positions to help with the AoEs. Alright, so this has the owl eyes, same sort of mechanic?
Yep. Just switch it up a little bit. Like that.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, you're gonna have to use switching up like that.
So it's just, what was that? Just like random luck which side it would hit?
It's more just it's not all gonna be the same side like the other one was.
Yeah.
That would be easy.
Okay, this one here. There we go.
Quote a funny meme video I found that was now they're having mechanics. There are lines on
Oh, this one. Yeah, there's lines on the floor. So then that way you can actually see like where your safety is and such like that, rather than based off of like visual geometry.
which I think is a very clever way of doing boss arena design.
Yeah. Like it's...
You wouldn't think to look at it that way because it just looks like it's a fancy arena, but it's actually a way of dictating some mechanics, which I think is really cool.
Especially if they don't move.
Whoopsie!
Whoopsies?
Oh.
How do you do a whoopsies?
Man, okay. I was trying to use one of my healing skills.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
I'm sorry, man.
The only problem with being a healer is that everyone will hate you for doing a good job. Literally everyone. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
That's a little extra.
Oh,
you're not making this easy, are you, sir?
Oh, god damn it, I went to the wrong side.
yeah, you have to keep an eye on the shoulders and the statues.
Wait, there's statues in here?
Look behind real quick.
Oh.
And now, together!
Oh, shit, statue is on that side.
Right, but he comes to that side.
Oh, great, this.
I think we all fucked that one up!
Like, what was the trick? What was the mechanic for that one? Like, there's a punch on one side, and then there's like a...
Ow, ow, ow.
Yeah, that was...
Sorry, I fucked that up.
Let's not forget the mechanics again.
Okay,
I
I can
remember
heal.
the mechanic, I just read it wrong.
Do you want to try and revive the DPS? Yeah, you're reviving the DPS. Okay, so now he's doing the arm thing. And it's on the correct... Okay, cool. Now it's on the correct side.
Not quite. Mostly correct side, but not quite.
There we go. See, I understood that one. Alright, back to the center you go. Come on, come on, come on. Oh.
Hey, I'm trying to heal. Stop that.
I understand exactly what's happening here. Oh, that's reprisal. That's not my heart thingy. Oh, but it worked relatively effectively. Thank you. Okay, so...
Being spicy.
Alright, so it's like here? Yes! Oh.
Got it! So it's whatever side his vents are on.
Yeah, so his punch will do the the thing that like stuns you, but the actual like light show is what kills you. There we go.
And pop. Anyway, whoa, 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 whoa.
Alrighty, so his left hand. Alright, let's see. Alright, I'm gonna have him aim this way. Hopefully he's gonna aim this way. Nope. Okay, so you're gonna need to stand here. Oh, fuck.
I did it!
I still stood on the wrong side. But I didn't die. Thank you, whoever did that.
Uh-oh. Back. Well.
What? No, that's a tank buster!
Hmm?
Sorry.
I used...
I had a moment of panic. I'm like, please don't make me heal everyone else on the tank buster.
Oh, almost done. Yeah!
I leveled! Let's go.
You leveled? Congrats.
Striking and scouting.
The gear setting is really nice, by the way.
Like, glamour-wise? Okay.
Oh no.
Bench slash.
Bats.
Can we flip-flop healer? Oh wait.
Am I what, sorry?
Can we flip-flop healer between missions?
Absolutely we can. I have no whatsoever.
Nice.
What happened?
Sash and I are gonna be flip-flopping healers.
Are you?
Yeah, that'll be cool.
And it's perfect because we both have the same.
I gotta level up my white mage.
I got myself.
I will say, white mage is a really like pretty class effect wise.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
It does kind of
Very,
make you
very
turn your
pretty.
brain off a bit.
Hmm.
It's kind of pressing buttons.
Pressing buttons works. I am pressing buttons too, but not all of them. Some of them I don't know what they do, and I am afraid to press them.
As long as you don't hit the ball by
This, oh, that's workshop. Oh, that one. What does this do?
Sheesh.
Reduces HP to 1 and renders you impervious to most attacks. Ugh.
At least it's better than Dead or Alive.
Hmm.
No, Dead or Alive's much better now.
Oh?
Because they changed it so that Living Dead, once you proc it and you get 1 HP, you get insane lifesteal.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's
so
like...
you basically heal yourself back up.
And it's and like the AoE as well, it's not on per cast, it's per proc of your ability as well. So if you hit like, you know, however many characters, you get the lifesteal on each of those. It's not a per cast thing.
That's a lot
actually bullshit right now.
Yeah. One of the other healers in my like posse, they like did not heal me for the one with the Kraken. So you know how you like go, like you fall off a cliff, you gotta deal with some birds and some jellyfish? They did not heal me for that one, but that was to get me comfortable with using the Dead or Alive and seeing what happens when I use the AoEs.
Okay.
So it was a yeah, it was a teachable moment.
Fun little fact, when Shadowbringers first came out and I was playing Gunbreaker, Super Bowl Light had a funny little bit of code in that you would hit Super Bolide, but the shield effect of Super Bolide would not go off at the same time.
Oh no!
So more often than not, people would Super Bolide and then just drop dead.
You press it and you die.
Because they would take a hit before the shield came out, and so that 1 HP was just gone.
So how did they fix it? Did they just see it as a race condition and go, all right, we'll flip the order of operation around where it's the shield first and then the 1 HP?
I believe that's how they did it. Because otherwise it just, you literally, so many times people would hit Super Bolide and then drop dead, and you'd be like, wait, what? It's very amusing.
Oh, I don't know if I would have found it amusing.
Say that, I'm the one that has to panic you when that happens, but it's still funny.
Noted. Just reading on every one of these things.
This boss.
Yeah.
Alright, do not do healing just yet.
Real quick.
Alrighty, so... Alright, so we got the 1, 2, 3, 4 statues. And it looks like they, like, do a... not an X, but a chevron kind of cross-section. Alright. So it would be advantageous for me to be here and everyone behind. Or sort of like...
Ooh, okay.
Yep. There you go.
Pick the bat.
Oop. Okay, so now we have pillars.
Pretty sure they're gonna fall at some point. Yep.
Okay, so that's there. This one's faster. It's not as bad.
It's not as messy this one.
Yeah.
It's mostly heal checks, honestly.
Keep it a good one this time.
Why are you hitting me so hard?
Because you're not heal chicken.
I'm healing. You need a hit.
Oh.
Oh my god! I survived by the skin of my teeth!
So, keep in mind that your hitbox is literally a pixel.
With what?
Yeah, it's literally a pixel.
Oh no! I got squished!
It's so hard! I was so close to! I was like, wait, am I gonna make it? Am I gonna make it? Wait, yeah.
Okay, what is the trick to keeping up mana on... Oh, it's
you also need to shoot with a save.
What? You mean doses?
Yeah, it's just your basic pew-pew.
Oh, Sash didn't even.
Keep going down.
Sash didn't
Did you
notice.
cardio? Did you cardio?
I did, yeah. That's got cardio.
Yep, I got Cardion, so...
Wait, what did I not notice?
Oh, I decided to use the Super Bowl lead, like, near the end there.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't notice.
Also,
Good thing I saved it for, like, basically the end. I was like, do I want to use it on the Supersonics here?
I mean, you would have been fine. I was still healing through it.
Also,
I didn't particularly remember that fight too well.
Ooh,
pretty forest.
The skills that don't have any mana cost.
Wee.
Oh, so I need to use Toxicon as well.
Yep.
Okay, now.
Hey, Gorilla. Oh, these are the what's-mahoozies now.
That's what should be there.
The light things.
Eaters.
That and any other skill that doesn't have any mana cost. That's how you get it back.
Also, keep your lucid dreaming up. Keep it on cooldown.
Well, I had that on cooldown, that's why I was confused that my mana was still low, because I'm used to that crystal opposite. I can't do mana upkeep on Skull. I have no mana regen.
I will say, I think Stage is the most mana consuming healer.
No, it is. It's very mana hungry.
Oh, what? The monkeys can shoot?
I mean, it definitely is if you don't know what it is that you've got to do to maintain it. Which is where Astrologian makes me laugh, because it's like, what's mana, lol? Rules card?
Rules card, this is your death.
Do the gorillas shoot that far? No, they do not. Cool.
My HP go down. Stop.
I'm still alive. It's okay.
I know. I'm trying to mitigate.
Fair enough, fair enough. I'm trying to remember who it was that got me, like, low. And it was, like, just a repetitious thing of, like, because they were, you know, doing the whole DPSing is just mitigating future damage. Like, they, like, but the thing is, like, they knew exactly how low they could make me go. Oh, and such like that. And it was just a case of, like, you know, they were just confident in their skill of being like, yep, I can keep him alive where priority is. There was never this attempt of like, oh, keep you above 50. Oh, what the fuck, gorilla? Back over here, you monkey.
I don't feel like that would have been. Like, I'm a confident scholar, but I'm not that.
I think it's just
definitely not me.
I think it just helps that, you know, I was playing warrior, so as they went through, like, warrior class themselves, they were like, oh, they know so long as I keep my combos up, I'm getting my heals already. And then there's just, like, you know, 2 or 3 sort of, oh, here's a free heal just for the, oh, whoops.
Oh.
Yep, no, I see it. There we go. All right, now they're grouped up.
Or they were.
Sorry.
And Aurora to keep. So yeah, so like I only have like one emergency heal like spell on like Gunbreaker, but that's a lot better than Dark Knight where there was none. And I was like, oh, I just had to be aware of this one sort of.
Oh, wait, what happened there?
That
monkeys.
is what we call skill issue.
I think it was the monkeys.
Oh, I fallen and I did get up.
No, Sash, not naive, but now.
Oh, there comes.
It's the most beautiful thing in the world. It's a banana. Next to another banana.
Banana.
Dally arrow for it. They made me upsetty. The damn girl is made me upsetty. How dare you smack the dancer?
Oh, none of their shit is magical. I was an idiot with that mitigation.
Uh-huh.
I will say I kind of hate that Gunbreaker has it so that you have to press one or the other defense boost.
Like, just let mitigate be mitigate.
Oh, there's a book!
Oh, reduces damage taken by... Nebula is the thing I wanted. Okay. Book? Oh, the Ravel Keeper's thingy.
Thank you!
Nice!
Asho!
Whee!
Night!
Cutscene.
Oh,
Oh, it's the... Oh!
It's the big boy.
It's the big arrow. Please me.
Think of Cerberus.
That's not... Yeah, I was thinking Cerberus, but the middle one is a baboon mask.
Yeah.
Right.
Alright, here we go.
No time to dally.
Wait, what am I thinking? I already have a... Oh, I'm an idiot. I forgot I already had one, like, tank stance, and I just wasted another.
Derek?
Yeah. I didn't see that in time. I thought it was a different attack.
You might want to give Zarex the heals instead of me for a bit.
I throw shield combo, so if he takes another hit, he won't like die immediately.
Get over here.
Oh no! I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this.
Do we want to...
Stay right in the middle.
Yeah.
Nebula? There we go. I used the right tank stance that time.
Oh, this.
Back.
Deep.
Oh, did not do that in time.
I think you got it.
Nah, I used the Heart of Stone late. Alright, so doing the Viper thing. Oh, that's not good, that's not good.
Little corner, right?
Ow! Make sure he doesn't pull you through that puddle. Never mind. Ah!
Alright, all the way over here.
Yep. There we go.
Ouch. I'm okay.
I'm alive as well.
Buster.
And fence. Oh, Aura. There we go. Still living.
Derek?
Oh, yep.
Missed it again. Oh, I just took the brunt of that, didn't I?
Sash, you should probably emergency heal.
Hmm? Who?
Sash.
Oh.
She was on half health.
Oh, okay.
Did we limit break? Yay! I wanna do it. Oh, I rolled a buster too.
That was cool.
Okay.
Center. Alrighty.
Oh my god, the positioning on that one looks golden. Just my dad.
I risked it. I didn't hit a tank stance when that happened. I was just like, oh, we'll kill it just before it hits me or something.
How does this look?
Da, 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 da.
Good job, everybody.
Proud of you guys. That was beautiful.
Nice. Sorry that I didn't do the Heart of Stone like sooner. I've realized now that that's probably something to use when there's like the thingy. Also, what did I? Ooh, a Heart of Stone plus. No, it's not in my book. Would have been funny if it was. Knives and bracelets. And I can't accommodate anyone. Thank you for waiting for me, Sash. Back to a light party.
Oh, quick, what just happened? Ah. Nah, I had no idea what was happening for a second, because I was trying to cardi on
Not to worry.
Grant, and it wasn't letting me.
Ah, okay. Not to worry.
Yeah. Like, Huna, huh?
Ooh. Ah. Oh.
That's gotta go somewhere.
And your Stola is gonna be like, oh, it's like very blinding. I'm blinded by the light.
The Light Warden is dead. The Blessed's prayers have been answered.
Aye, that they have.
His condition yet troubleth thee?
It does. Though he shows no immediate signs of corruption, the danger remains. He must be
Go
told.
suck a lemon.
Would you describe it to me, Marie-Angé? Paint for me a picture with your words.
A sea of
Oh my
shimmering
god, it's this
stars.
scene.
Diamonds strewn across a raven gown. Boundless and beautiful. 'Tis an exquisite sight, not unlike that of the source. Calm and gentle and forgiving.
I can see it.
For however deep the void, or wide the expanse, there is no shore so distant as to be beyond the reach of light. Ominous though that may sound, given our present travails.
Well fought. Let us return home. The murals. If I am not mistaken, they predate the Empire.
How can
Oh,
you
hey,
tell?
the calamity on the left.
A peculiarity of the paint. Most are made from mineral-based pigments. But whatever was used here is older than anything I have ever seen. According to Almet, this sanctuary was built to preserve the wisdom of the ancients. What events do these murals commemorate, I wonder?
Must you always linger after defeating your enemies? Navigating these halls on foot is exhausting.
Come to lead us to safety, have you?
I was bored. But how is the hero of the hour?
I was bored.
He's so good.
You can't fix him.
Fighting fit, I see.
Sash will find a way.
Keep up the good work.
Wait,
You're
did someone say they
plotting
can fix him?
something.
I can fix him, says woman
Every
that is
hour of
worse.
Every day. But never you mind about that.
You can't fix
As I have told you 1,000 times before,
can't fix him.
I like to watch. Nothing more.
Oof. There's
Well,
definitely
I would quit this
someone
place and I suggest you do the same. There is yet work to be done.
Post and Walker that you're gonna absolutely despise and be like, jeez. Abbott Selk was nothing compared
There
to
is a
this
sight
lunatic.
to bring a tear to the eye.
If you know, you know. If
You
you don't,
recognize these scenes?
if you know, you know.
I gotta
and if you
send
know,
Sash
you also
something.
keep your mouth shut.
There we go.
Oh, we keeping our mouth shut.
I am
I do. Indeed, there was a time when anyone and everyone would.
Looks like a lot went through the dryer.
Until one calamitous
Wait,
day
I
when
haven't
the
followed
world
this
was divided across 10
Sorry.
and 3 reflections, sundering the land and all who dwelled
Have you
upon it.
heard anything?
And the worst part,
I'm listening to Emmett.
no one could remember it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Not
didn't
really.
realize.
Just fragments and fleeting memories of an achingly familiar world.
I am annoyed that he's just like 10 and 3, and I'm like, just say 13.
A paradise lost, preserved only in song and
It's old
scripture
English, okay?
and paint. Once upon a time. Yet here we find ourselves again, to look, learn, and remember.
To think and feel.
And share with us the stories you know so well. We are listening.
Before the Great Sundering, there was one world. A world that knew naught but peace and prosperity. Until it was faced with a crisis. Unprecedented, terrifying. Civilization found itself perched upon a precipice, staring into oblivion. But through prayer and sacrifice, the will of the star was made manifest. Zodiac was his name, and by his grace was the calamity averted.
Zodiac.
A savior mighty and magnificent, deserving of reverence and gratitude. One would have thought, yet some thought otherwise. From the fears of these naysayers would rise Hydaelyn, she who was to serve as his shackles, to bind him and hold him in check. And so they fought, and they fought, and they fought, and in the end, Hydaelyn was victorious. With all her strength, she smote him, dealing a blow so devastating that it split the very fabric of reality. And thus was Zodiac banished and his being divided. That concludes today's lesson on long-forgotten history. Though I imagine your mother would offer a rather contradictory account, as is her wont.
She's
not my mom.
I can only assume I misheard. But it sounded an awful lot like you were implying both Zodiac and Hydaelyn are not gods. But...
What? Not gods of the first? Is that what you thought these paintings depicted? Or... Oh. Oh. They are gods after a fashion, yes. But no different from the kind with which you are so intimately acquainted. Formed of faith and prayer, of conviction and devotion. The eldest and most powerful of primals.
You have spun quite a tale. Yet you have not explained the role of the Ascians in all of this. How is it you are privy to ancient secrets lost to time?
Finally you asked the right question. Truly question more honest answers.
I want to shake him. I just want to be like, speak plainly!
No, because it is our history, our story. It was we who summoned Zodiac. We natives of that sundered paradise. Now, do you see why we yearn for the great rejoining? For our world, for our people, for all creation to be made whole again. Wouldn't you wish for the same?
It's fucking... What is that?
His signature.
Yeah. Look, I get him. It's similar in fashion to the issue in Zendikar Rising. Nissa and Nahiri are both natives of Zendikar, but they're natives of different times. So Nahiri is the weapons, like, you know, mage woman. She's back during a time when, prior to the Eldrazi infection and shit like that, of thousands of years and such. She knows of the time of, you know, great magical buildings and magitech and what have you, and she's interested in that past, the time of, like, you know, like Roman Empire kind of, or Roman Republican kind of times. Whereas Nissa only knows of Zendikar in the way it is right now, with the, like, the planet is, or the plane is very much sundered. It's very much broken. It's nothing Nahiri would ever agree as, you know, whole. But for Nissa, an entirely different culture and way of living is done there. The arts, the way of life, the good, the bad, all that is completely different compared to Nahiri's time. And neither one is wrong for the way they've had to live on Zendikar. But for Nahiri to recreate, like, to get rid of the royal and all that kind of nonsense in MTG is a case of the way that Nissa has had to be living would be gone and would be destroyed, to say the least. This, I feel like, is the same sort of thing, where the Ascians, sure, they want the rejoining because it means going back to the paradise they once had and yada yada. That would be fine if shit wasn't getting built up during the time we've been shattered and shit, as we are right now. There's way too much that is formed through the fractures than would be regained from making it whole.
Yep.
We're greater than...
Such a fucking good villain.
Yeah. That was an enlightening experience, though not in the way I'd hoped. do you suppose there's any truth to Emitzel's claim? Oh. Yay! Another Aether Current. Which one is it? Do you mind if we do... We can also... Actually, hang on a second. We can invite Tatsu back. Oh, wait, I'm not leader. Zarix, you need to make me leader.
Oh, yeah.
I was muted. Yes, I am still here.
Not to worry, not to worry. Alright, invite to party. I have something in my, I have something in my Whatsamahoozy that is, needing to be done.
Also, Sash, I finished the thing for tomorrow for Monster Hunter.
Nice.
Nice.
I sent you a DM.
I gotta try out I have Rise, but I should try out Worlds on the PlayStation or PC. I think it's like $30 or something.
Very nice, Tatsu. Very nice.
So.
It's my Kultura Taroth Kobold, but they have Hunting Horn.
One of the things I gotta do in the Wondrous Tale is the Minstrel's Ballad for Nidhogg's Rage. Me and Code could not go very far in this, even at our highest level. So, I was wondering, with, you know, your best, like, your favorite class and what have you, we do an unsynced run of Nidhogg's Rage. Nice. What?
What happened? You might not have it unlocked.
You unlock it in... you need to head to Mordona, and at Revenant's Toll, there's a minstrel to talk to. He'll just play his lute, and then it will be unlocked magically. You don't have to, like, do anything else.
Which one are we doing?
I wanted to do Nidhogg's Ballad, but one of us may not have it. Though recent events plainly warrant further discussion, I think it's best that we wait until Alphino and the others are present. Emmett included. How convenient that he should choose this moment to keep to the shadows. Well...
Is it a dungeon or a boss?
It's a raid.
Alright.
So, you should... Like, you get it from the Wandering Minstrel over in Whatsamahoozy, in, blah 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 blah, Revenant's Toll. There we go. For the present,
I'm actually standing at him right now.
We should return to Fanau and make certain of the Ulmoran's withdrawal. After that, Slitherblow. The Blessed are no doubt elated by what has become of the sky.
And what was the, what's it called?
Nidhogg's Rage. Most of the quests from the Wandering Minstrel should just be a case of, oh, hey, you did this thing, right? I want to make a song of it. And then he says a few lines, and then it unlocks the minstrel ballad in your duty finder. Alright, is there an Aether thing you need to do around here? No, not to the southwest. Okay.
Oh. Oh boy, that gets fun.
Yeah, normally it's supposed to be a level... It's supposed to be like a level 60 with a full party, but I was gonna say, fuck it, let's just... We ball with the strongest.
He doesn't have any quests for me.
Alrighty.
Then you must have it on ball.
No, it should, because I just had to go through Heaven's Ward and shit like that, and it was available. So hang on, let me... Control T, Nid... Cookie for the Hawaiian pizza! Nidhogg's Rage. Unlock. This is part of the main quest, so you will obtain it by simply running through the Heaven's Ward expansion. After that, you can pick up the quest Nidhogg's Rage at the Rising Stones in Mordona, speaking to the Wandering Minstrel to unlock the fight.
You said it's a raid, yeah? Is it a raid or a boss fight?
It's a boss fight.
It's a trial.
Okay, That's why I'm so fucking confused. I'm looking in the raid section, being like, what the fuck is this? Why don't I have this? Where is it?
Alright, then it... Who else could... I'll try again after this cutscene. And we'll see if there's... You have returned!
You said it's a Heaven's Ward one?
Heaven's Ward, yeah.
Indeed,
I am...
Oh. Is it called the Final Step of Faith?
No, it's a minstrel ballad. It's in the extreme section.
Oh, I see. Nidhogg Raid.
Alright, so you've got it, cool. The death of a single Sin Eater should make such a difference. As our numbers wane, so too did our hope that the ruins we have devoted our lives to guarding would ever find purpose. Yet here you are, the allies for whom we have waited these many centuries, and with your arrival came the chance to pass on our legacy, the ancient wisdom of the Empire. That alone would have been reward enough. Never did we imagine it would serve to banish the light that pervaded these woods. On behalf of the Vise, our forebears and the late Emperor of Ronka, you have our deepest thanks. Nice. Ooh, completing this will grant you unique weapons and the chance at a special mount. You might get the Dark Lanar Whistle. Can also be done on Sync, which makes it much of a breeze. Certain job casters can solo or dual Nidhogg with relative ease. I do not believe that. It is we who should be thanking. Our journey through the Quitana Revel proved most enlightening. To be privy to such knowledge is an honor, one for which we never hoped. Please, you need not be so humble. We but do our duty as decreed by the late Emperor. Would that he were still with us to express his gratitude in person. But sister, does this not mean our duty is fulfilled? To our allies, perhaps, but the ruins cannot be left unguarded. So long as we live here in these woods, the secret of Ronka must not fall into the wrong hands. Now we can just be busy doing other things, hopefully. Is Runar still here? No. We escorted him back to Slitherborough shortly after you set out. If you return to the Knight's Blessing, we will not keep you any longer. I suspect they will be glad of your company. Nice. Thank you, Almit. I look forward to a day when we might share a more leisurely visit to the ruins of Ronka. We will await you then. What's uh-oh?
I don't have the thing, and I talked to the Wandering Minstrel.
And you still don't have it?
Yeah. I have the ones for Shinryu and Tsukuyomi, but
not Nidhogg's?
Not the other two. Yeah.
I wish I could tell you who doesn't have it, because then it would be a case of
Trials,
like, you know.
Heaven's Word, Thought, Limitless, Blue Heart, Singularity Reactor.
So Trials, Heaven's Ward, High End.
Do you have normal Nidhogg's range?
There isn't a normal.
There isn't a normal Nidhogg's. Yeah.
Then, what's the name?
It's so yeah, because you have to go through Nidhogg's Rage via the Heaven's Ward main quest line, and once you've completed through that, then you should be able to talk to the Wandering Minstrel in Mor Dona and so, like. Hang on. Don't.
One other thing is that did you skip over the story or no from that character?
No.
That shouldn't be a case.
Strike 20 with the 2-month tier 1 sub.
Oh.
I have all the way back to A Realm Reborn. But that's the one thing I don't have.
They should just be right there. Keeper of Knowledge. Oh, why do I get a cutscene with him? Being haunted by song, it is foretold. Crimson Flames herald the end of an era. What the?
Oh, I think I know another thing that might have happened.
That might be an outdated guide.
No. Check your quest log real quick.
My quest log?
Yeah. See if there's any. See if it's hidden in there or.
Minstrels, most commonly called Nidhogg's EX, is an extreme that was added in patch 3.3. It can be unlocked by completing the quest Nidhogg's Rage by Alice in Mordona. Oh, so...
Oh.
It's the chick right next to him. I'm dead.
God damn it. That's so
Okay.
fucking dumb.
God. The ultimate ballad, simply to die for.
Thank you so much, Lightstrife, for the 2 months subbed. I greatly appreciate it. You don't have to deal with advertisement, and you get to utilize all of these cool emotes. Have you picked a favorite yet? Beep boop.
Okay, just turn them all in.
All right, you just got it?
Yeah, I'm turning it. I have several quests to turn into him. grab all the quests from that girl and just like, okay, I got Thornton's Reign, so I can do is that the Seed of Faith?
Thornton's Reign is the one when the Pope turns into a demon.
Yeah.
Yeah, the singularity reactor, I think it was.
Yeah. Okay, now I have it. Oh my god, I'm such a goof.
Oh, it's okay. We figured it out. We figured out the thingy.
Ultima's Bane ballad composed.
Oh, I melted through that.
You didn't have Ultima's.
Apparently not.
Coils of
So
I
okay, so like full disclosure, I have way too many
blue check marks to go through.
Yeah, I have way too many because I literally just focused on mainline the whole time.
That's okay. I was a mix because like in A Realm Reborn you had to go through the crystalline crystal tower thing. So that happened. I did a little bit of the Alexandrite, the Alexander machine. Most recently, I've picked up like some of the other Alliance raids, and then there's this hunt for the Omega, but I've not gone through with those yet. So.
Wait, oh my god, I literally have to do the hunt for the Omega one too.
Ooh, we can do that together after I'm done with It'll be on my to-do list for when I'm playing this game on stream and it's not for, or when I'm playing this game and it's not for the quest line. Because, like, yeah.
I will 100% play Final Fantasy and just tackle all the raids and side quests.
Nice.
Even off stream, like, literally. I'm on Final Fantasy 90% of the time.
Yeah, I will probably do, like, the Omega and, like, I've done Heaven's Ward and A Realm Reborn relic weapons off stream as well.
I need to do that.
I haven't even done that.
Alright.
I'm literally going back all the way to the starter areas and 100%ing them.
Radio.
Yeah.
Radio.
Which, actually, now is the perfect time to do that, because the next expansion doesn't come out till, like, summer.
Yeah, I have to, like, I'm gonna be trying to speed through the, thingy. This, the Shadowbringers and Walker to get up to there. Alright.
No. Wait, is that Hraesvelgr?
Yeah.
Dragon Dad, no!
That's Nidhogg.
Always hurts me.
That's his sister, isn't it?
No, the one on the floor.
I thought the one on the floor was his sister.
Is it not? No, the sister one is an Endwalker. The sister one is an Endwalker.
No, there's a sister in the earlier ones too, because the dad's already dead. He talked to his spirit in the Realm Reborn.
Let's see how quickly we go through this. Oh, yeah, that's a little bit faster than last time.
Yeah, let's go.
Me and Code were like, we were doing like a percentage, like 1% each combo. Oh, and then this is the one we've been like, you know, dying to real quick because debuffs up the wazoo. Excellent.
Oh, debuffs where?
I didn't get to this part.
Ha.
Have fun.
Get in here.
Oh, okay, in there? Oh.
This is a group busting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, that did no damage.
It's a heal check. It's literally a heal check.
Okay. Oh yeah, because Nidhogg took over Estinian. That's why he's Nidstinian. Oh god damn it! I wasted this. God damn it! I wasted that inner release.
I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Jesus Christ. Yay! We did it! I have no clue how we did it, but we did it.
So I'm not sure you noticed, but I was like DPSing him the whole time.
Nice.
I was being mega toxic.
There we go. Estinian, who hasn't changed throughout the entire Heaven's Ward campaign.
Oh my god, I'm dead! Oh my god, if only y'all could see what I see. If only y'all could see what I see.
Oh my god, the whistle is available? Hell yeah, I'm gonna grab. Oh.
Oh, right, I get it. Yeah, now.
No,
He rolled a 6!
Give me that!
Hey,
I still need to mount farm with you at some point, Sash, so I can get all the mounts.
I have no idea
You know
what
what
on it.
Who got the whistle?
I did.
Aw.
Burned.
And you can't even trade
I got
it.
the weapon though. I got the weapon though.
Okay, that's good.
I'm out.
Zark gets the hold and out.
Hold on. Y'all want to do the other fight? Just whack him. Whack him out of the field while we're at it.
The other one? You mean the Thoradin's Reign?
Yeah. Whack him out of the field while we're at it.
All right. Is there a possibility of a whistle in this one?
I have no clue.
Yes.
I hope so.
It's an extreme.
All right.
Let's go.
Let's go. We're just gonna like work our way backwards to see if there's any whistles from Heaven's Ward because I've got none of them.
We're just gonna obliterate them.
Before that was I only had this first.
You don't know how tempting I was to be like, hey gang, as the streamer, you wanna help me out? You wanna pass on the whistle?
If anything, that's a reason to roll on it.
Yeah. I understand the rarity. It's like 5% drop or something like that.
I'll fight you for it.
Let's not 1v1 this guy, don't worry about it, guys.
Rule for loot.
Much as we're gonna do the big boy damage.
He is. What is with the speed?
Hey, no.
Nidhogg was
3
so.
DPS in here. What do you mean?
Okay.
You have a black mage. Black mage equal damage.
Where do we go?
A dancer and a reaper.
Yeah.
Red chains.
It's fine. I won't die from chains.
I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about me.
Oh.
What's that? She won't die from chains.
Oh, it literally just stays on .1. Oh well, I can at least like boost up my my thingy-majiggy, my rage meter by just hitting him.
Yep.
Just got fucking. But yeah.
Break his legs.
His legs. Where's the next one? Limit break at 27. Roll.
Sir, was that supposed to do anything?
So, I don't know if you know, but I'm on the bloody black mage. Your damage does nothing to me.
Sir, I
I'm
don't-
dead still.
Are we supposed to do
So,
something?
your damage does nothing.
No, we're just doing mechanics at this point until they finish flexing.
Okay. Ah, that's literally tickle. Everything.
We're bullying these bosses.
Yeah.
I mean, they deserve to get bullied.
They're literally getting bullied. We're terrible, it's so weird.
It is.
I mean, again, they kind of deserve it.
I would much rather this during the hunt for a whistle than like the soloing Nidhogg experience I had, where it was like I have no clue how well this is gonna work. Nani?
I'm just gonna stay in this person. No, no. Give me more damage. Yes, hit me more.
I shall bury you when you're released.
I shall bury you.
Are you really trying to limber break me, my dude?
Yeah, he failed. Holy fail.
Bell cleave. Oh. There we go.
Never mind, we did it before we did his mechanic.
Nice.
Wait, what mechanic?
There's a mechanic where he knocks the healer on their ass and everyone has to try and defend the healer.
Oh.
Or we
Which,
could just
when I'm
murder
doing
them.
small parties, is usually where I fucking die.
Yeah. Well, this is a full party thing normally. We defeated the Pope.
Death to the Pope. The Pope is dead.
Aw, no whistle.
No whistle.
Have you guys done? Wait, oh my god. There's one I want to try.
Oh.
Tsukuyomi.
What?
Minstrel's
Do
Ballad.
it. Bet. Do it.
I'm saying
Bet.
Tsukuyomi,
Bet.
Minstrel's Ballad.
Where is that?
I'm gonna need to try.
That's Heaven's
Oh.
Ward. Heaven's Ward trial.
Tsukumomi's Pain. Level 70.
Do it. Bet.
Unsynced?
Unsynced.
Yeah.
Alright,
Let's hammer her.
one of your party members does not meet the requirements for this duty.
Okay, while you unlock that, I'm gonna go use the bathroom. So unlock
When
it
the
with
fuck
Bet.
do I unlock it?
Well, at least we know who it is now.
Gane.
Give me a second.
It's a Folkdust phonic stream, I've got that.
I do not want to do Shinryu.
Give me a second.
We're not doing Shinryu, we're doing Tsukuyomi.
I know,
Different
but
one.
anyone puts up Shinryu. No.
Which one's Tsukuyomi?
Tsukuyomi is the like
The Minstrel Ballad Tsukuyomi is a level 70 trial, which is through Songs in the Key of Kugane. Is a level 70 quasi-quest.
It's a Minstrel's Ballad one.
Yeah, it is. The quest is quote-unquote completed upon talking to the Wandering Minstrel. Players must go back to talk to him again each time they complete the necessary prerequisites in order to unlock the extreme or ultimate. Alright, so...
Has everyone made it through Stormblood?
I made it through Endwalker.
I'm at the end of Endwalker.
Songs in the Key of Kugane is found in Kugane.
I gotta go to Kugane.
Yeah, looks like we gotta go to Kugane.
Here, I'll offer teleport. Oh wait, never mind, someone's already gone.
Yep. Tatsu is. Thank you, Tatsu.
Oh, look at Zarek!
What'd you say it's called?
Zarek's just standing right next to him.
Yep.
So just look for him.
Who's that?
Over this
Oh, that's a
direction.
random levy mate. Never mind.
Across the bridge.
Oh, I need to complete this blue tick. Hang on.
Suzaku?
Wait, what are there again? No, not Suzaku. Tsukuyomi.
You probably have to...
What story you want to share? Byaku, Suzaku, and Seiryu.
Just select all three, because all of them are just a case of you talk to him about it, and that's it. So then that way you have them unlocked for everything else.
Wait, where are you?
I am on the other side of the map.
I don't see any of you.
So, hang on a second. So, heading south.
Oh, wait, I see you guys. Huh? There he is. Oh, already hum.
Thank you for the little eye there.
Oh my god, I'm dead.
Dead.
That's a 1, by the way.
Alright. Hang on, what kind of fieldcraft gear does he have? Alright, so that's level 60 shit.
That unlocked me the Jade Stoic, Hell's Kia, and the Reese's Steak Extreme.
Yoink them all, because it's literally just talk to him.
I've got them all.
Nice.
But I still don't have the one you're talking about, I don't think. What's it called, the mission?
Songs in the Key of Kugane.
I meant the actual...
Hold on.
The actual...
The Minstrel's Ballad...
Tsukuyomi's
Pain.
He didn't give me any of the Minstrel Ballad, he gave me the Jade Stoa, Hell's Gear, and
Hi,
the
Code.
Reef of Stakes Extreme.
Let's see, wait, is Code waiting for us?
What?
It's Code the Yoshi.
That doesn't make any sense. Because I got permission from him, so...
Chat, we found Grant. He's right here. There he is.
Hi, Code's chat.
Hey, Code.
Hi, Code.
How's it going? How is it going in Shadowbringers? You're just starting, aren't you?
Not yet there. I have one more level to get.
You have one more level.
One.
All right. I'm trying to think. What would? Wait, can we do? Oh, wait. Hang on. Turn off the join in.
So I've got. So I'm currently waiting on the Labyrinth of the Ancient as well as Arm of the Father.
Oh, is this the Yep. Hang on.
Wondrous Tales. So I've got 6. I need 3 more.
I'm currently on 5. I was thinking if you're 1 level away, we could try and do a normal raid.
Yeah. Oh, everyone's so tiny.
'Cause
Why are
you
you all
get-
so tiny?
Because, like, with the normal raid, there's an XP and guild bonus. 8 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, invite to party.
I got
Wait, I
invited to the
forgot, what?
party. I feel so good.
So yeah, so
Where's the Wondrous Tales?
Dance with me, Grant.
the Wondrous Tales is back in Idleshire.
Yep.
All right.
No. I mean the book.
The book.
The Wondrous Tales
key
in
items.
Idleshire.
Key items.
Yep.
Oh, where to get it from? Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
No. Not where to get it from. Where to look at it.
Yeah. Inventory, key items.
Suck a lemon.
So yeah.
I see Arya's doing Dancer as well. Arya, dance with me, Arya. Dance with me.
I don't think I've done the base version of it before, which is why I don't have it unlocked or can't unlock it.
Okay, that's it. I'm gonna spit in your mouth.
Oh.
That should be something that's
Wait.
No, I haven't done the first dungeon before. I haven't unlocked, but I've never done it.
Badge? I can't find code. Oh.
I'm right here in front of you.
Wait a second. Leave party and quickly solo it.
No, but I'm saying I can't friend you.
No.
That's it. Tsukuyomi is part of the base storyline.
Yeah.
It says I haven't done it before.
What?
Wait, wait.
It's literally impossible, Tatsu.
You have to beat Tsukuyomi to get to Shadowbringers.
You have to finish. It's called Castrum Fluminis.
Sash, I'm sending you a DM right now.
How is that possible?
The only thing I can think of is if you want a skip book. That's the only thing.
No, because that should still give you all your quests.
Yeah, but that's the only thing that could have screwed up. That's
Oh, I already sent you a friend request. You just never accepted it. How mean?
How
What?
rude.
What do you mean? How did you...
That's normal Tsukiyomi, but it doesn't say you haven't finished it.
Yes, it does, because it doesn't have the tick above the picture. It usually has the tick if you've done it.
Oh, so we just need to do the...
We just need to do regular Tsukuyomi then.
Alright, let's do Castro and Full.
I literally just did it. I'm doing it solo currently while we speak.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought we could, like, do it.
Oh, I need to talk about Tsukuyomi as well. I haven't actually talked about that yet.
Nice. We're all realizing, oh, we should click on the blue ticks.
I'm just gonna skip that cutscene because it doesn't matter. There we go.
Code, you
what?
You big meanie. You I already sent you a friend request. You just never accepted it. I'm gonna cry.
What?
Yeah, I took your friend request.
Okay, I don't think I can actually do this alone. Never mind.
Okay.
Get back in the party.
Get back in the party. Get back in the party.
I can't leave this until I die.
I've got you in my friend's list, Aria.
No, I can't give up while getting attacked. It doesn't let you.
Oh, okay.
See, if you look at my stream, Aria, I've got you right here in my friends list.
Hang on a sec, I gotta look at this.
1 second. 1 second.
Okay, well, while we're all arguing over that, I'm gonna play more Pokemon.
No,
oh my god.
Fair enough. I'm probably gonna, like, what time is it? 9:30. I'm probably gonna like, you know, settle down and maybe raid into Code.
He's gonna settle down.
I have lost the bishop.
All right, there's Tatsu. All right, we're ready. Let's invite you back in. Huh?
No, I said frames.
Oh, okay.
Frames.
All right, clear. Change it to unrestricted.
Oh my god, I love it. I love the name of that attack. Oh, not even attack. Spell.
Where is it? There it is. Castrum Fluminis. One or more of your party members does not meet the...
Oh, hang on. I might know.
Yeah, it's code. It's code. Code
Oh.
hasn't done Soulblood yet.
What? I thought you were...
No. Me and Code did Tsukuyomi.
No, I think the issue is I'm too low a level. What's the level requirement for
No,
it?
it's not that
70.
it's not that they're too low, it's that they haven't actually done it yet. You haven't gotten to Soulblood yet, have you?
He's level 69.
He's done it. It's just that he's level 69. It won't let him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just switch over to my level 80 summoner.
Yep.
Hey.
All right.
There we go.
Aye.
See, it was just because I'm pathetic.
You say that, but you're not a black mage, man. Like me.
I mean, I was running Black Mage before, let's not forget that.
It's going to be a long night.
Okay, let's see if I remember any of this.
I do not.
Ooh, that hurt. How did that hurt?
You stood in the tree. Oh, why?
Because I'm a dum-dum. If you came here for smart code, you've come to the wrong place.
Your end is near.
Avoid those.
That was mean.
Your death
Avoid them.
will be all the sweeter.
You had one job.
My one job is to get hit by everything. I'm a black mage.
No, it is not. Okay, phase.
Learn to Black Mage.
I am black mage. I deal damage.
Says me, who doesn't know how to Black Mage, probably.
Hey, look, it's Suyu. Time to kill her.
Hey,
Don't kill the poor girl. It's not her fault everyone else was evil and stupid.
I'm just gonna AoE right here. They're gonna run here anyways.
Yeah, everyone just cover AoEs in the same spot.
I can't cast AoEs on the spot. I don't have AoEs on the spot. I have AoEs for targets and around the targets.
Oh no.
Not, I hate this guy. Get him out of here. Let's go, Zetsu.
Yay! He's still alive, right? He's just retired.
Yeah.
Good.
He's now doing the Buddhist monk thing.
Alright.
I thought he died.
No.
I thought he died when the tower went down.
No. Are you sure you finished Stormblood?
Yeah.
Okay, this is where I think there's a mistake.
But it was also like 6 years ago.
In darkness blooms the spider lily. From mortal husk, I rise anew. No, not yet. Not yet. I'll grind you under my heel.
Oh, grinding under the heel.
Yes, please.
See, I was waiting for someone to do that.
Yay, we did it.
Oh, that's right. Persona 3 Reload comes out in 3 weeks.
It does.
What?
Fuck, there's 2 games I'm gonna buy this month.
Alrighty, let's see if the Wandering Mistral is helpful for
Pass.
Tatsu.
The Wandering Mistral has a quest.
Hey!
How in the fuck did that even I'm so confused.
Same here.
I have a feeling someone did in fact get a story skip.
I don't remember getting a story skip. I remember playing through the whole game.
Maybe it was like when you, because you said you did it 6 years ago. Maybe it was an optional completion.
It could have been one of those that like
Or
Wait.
hear me out, Tatsu.
With a
You
rework.
could have done Stormblood story on a different character. You said
I was
you have
about to
5
say I
options.
have like 12 characters. It probably was on another
Oh,
character.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
that would make
I
sense.
know.
Alrighty then.
What's unlocked?
Do we want to try Tsukuyomi's Pain now?
Yes.
Tsukuyomi sounds like Rita Repulsa from the Power Rangers. Now that
One
I'm
of your
hearing her
party
voice
members
again-
does not meet the requirement.
Who the fuck?
Give
I
it
didn't
is
change. Shut up! Shut up! It wasn't me.
Shame!
shame, shame, shame.
Ah. Actually, Sven, you know who does sound like Rita Repulsa? The old lady from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures.
You know, there's multiple old ladies in Oh, okay.
Because it's the actress that actually plays Rita Repulsa.
What a clever trick there.